Today's sponsors are Angelo's Interiors, specialising in kitchens, bedrooms and bathrooms. Go and visit their showroom today in Gillingham. Their web address is angelosinteriors.com. And De Medici Associates, Chartered Structural and Civil Engineers.
Based in the UK with a worldwide reach.
Visit their website on demediciassociates.com. Welcome to the Cherrywood Podcast with me, Rachel Burridge.
And the master of podcasts, Simon Burridge. Get the clapperboard, just say who you are, give it a clap, and then we're away.
Give it the clap. We're here.
Yeah. What's your name?
Chris Harden. Says it on here.
Fair enough.
What do we do now?
Put it back there.
Put it down.
And this is someone that's supposed to be good with his hands.
Oh dear. Precision is key.
Welcome to the Cherrywood Podcast. This is
Why are you talking in that really?
Hey, welcome to the Cherrywood
Wow.
Podcast. This is Chris Harding. Hello, Chris.
Thank you. Very nice to be here.
You're very nervous, aren't you?
I do feel a bit nervous actually.
Now, Chris
because I'm
Harding-
concerned about what you're going to say.
He's a magician, and I think I drew a little wand on your name and all, I think. Didn't
You
I?
did?
Yeah, which you never use.
Do you know I sometimes do use a wand?
Oh, do you really?
Now and again.
Let's not go there yet.
Oh, here we go.
You know nothing about the podcast because apparently I didn't want to be influenced by it beforehand. I wanted to be surprised. That's what you said, wasn't it?
Yeah, I said that I wanted to not be aware of any questions. You might do stock questions. Yeah.
We don't have stock questions, really.
We just make up as we
We don't
go.
have stock questions. So
Right.
that falls off the wall.
Okay.
And if you get the time nearest than anyone else this year, you will get £100 to a charity of your choice.
A charity.
Yeah.
Okay. What do I?
You were gutted when I said charity, weren't you?
£100.
£100.
Oh, hello. It's worth the drive.
Cancel 2 gigs. When you say the time, do you mean the time since we started or the time
Clap.
it is?
You say a time, it's going to go 10 minutes from now.
Okay.
All right, so you do whatever you want to do. How long do you think it will last from now? From when you clap your hands?
Oh, you want me to guess now?
Yes. I've already had enough.
Should have got
I'm
Paul Daniels.
exhausted. I am physically exhausted and mentally exhausted.
10 minutes.
From, you're going to clap or?
Oh, right, from now.
That's what I said. Did you say 10 minutes because I said 10 minutes?
Yeah, I think I was influenced. Yeah.
Right,
I don't
okay.
know.
What was that noise?
That's me fiddling. Sorry,
right.
that's me.
Oh, right.
Sorry.
It went straight through my mic. Sorry, he's got, for people just listening,
Tick.
the cue ball is next to the black. No, for people just listening, he's he plays with cards a lot. I think he has to because he's a magician. And he did a little like he
I
did.
did. It was a fun sound.
Don't mean he wasn't clearing his throat. He was doing that with the cards, which is going to be annoying to you guys throughout the whole episode.
I might put them down in a minute.
Can you build like a house of cards with them?
Yeah, I do
that?
often. Yeah, if I've got nothing else to do, and I feel like life is slipping away. If there's no televised snooker on, I'll build a house of cards.
What a question! You might as well go, what is your favourite colour?
Do you know David Copperfield?
I'm going to leave now.
Anyway, Chris, we've known you for a while now, haven't we?
Yeah. How long is it? So I
think
thought you were called.
probably got to know you the year before we won our first award, which was 2014.
Sort of mentioned the award straight away there, didn't you? So what a link. Every time it's like mention the award.
Get it up and go.
Yeah, wasn't it then?
I met you at a wedding fair. You came over.
Did I?
No, not a wedding fair. I think it was at a wedding. I want to say it was at the Orangery. And you came over and said, I'm Simon. I'm doing some filming today. Can I film you? And it was sort of, I thought, who is this guy? And this is free. Yeah. Can I film you? Is he part of the wedding? He's just some fucking geezer. And you came over and I think it was there because for a long time I thought you were called Cherrywood Promotions.
Everyone thinks a Cherry Tree Productions.
Yep.
The reason it's Cherrywood, that was the road I lived on.
Which is coincidental because I used to live in Cherrywood Rise as well when I met you.
okay.
I used to live in Ashford.
So you can tell the difference in class. Cherrywood Rise, mine was Cherrywood Close.
Drive.
Oh, Cherrywood Drive, yeah.
Yeah. Different Cherrywoods for different
Yeah.
types of people.
Different standards.
What am I saying? People
what you're
go,
saying.
who is this idiot?
So you've been a magician. You've been a magician.
Easy for you to say.
You've been a magician.
I'll do that again.
For your whole life, haven't you?
Yeah.
Did you ever have another job before that?
No, I have no other skills. No, I think I was one of those kids. I got to like 5 years old, realised I didn't like playing outside. I wasn't good at sport. So I became, magic was the sort of the thing that kids do, or the cool kids. This is pre-internet though as well, so it's before the YouTube generation.
Masturbation.
5 or 6, you know. I think it's probably because I'm older, a bit younger than you, aren't I? So I was born like
oh my god, we just been talking
late
about
80s, early 90s.
He's 38. Everyone.
Oh, that's all right.
38.
Yeah. That's all right. It's
all
like
right. Yeah, she would.
If you're 36, definitely not. 42, out.
What about 50, Rach?
Nah, sorry, 50's the cut-off point.
Okay.
You're 50
lost.
this year.
Yeah.
I remember being like young, and you think about people of 50 as being like well old, but you don't seem well old.
That's
now
because
anyway,
I'm the mental age of about 16-year-old.
Well, I met you. I couldn't place an age on you, so I think it's because you've got a slightly
Flathead?
childlike approach to things.
I have.
Juvenile is the word.
What's the point in being straight and what?
Straight.
What's the point in?
It's just turning into therapy, isn't it? It's like
I always burp in this podcast. I'm so sorry. What's the point in being serious in life when you can just have a laugh for your life?
Well,
you can still get on, you can still work, still have fun.
yeah.
But what's
especially what you do? I suppose especially what you both do. If you take yourself too seriously in it, then you're kind of setting yourself up for a bit of a fall, aren't you? You know?
Because I mean, that's a lot of brides and grooms actually say to us, "Oh, it was so chilled out when it was just us guys, and you made us laugh, you made us relax."
Is that inferring they've met other wedding videographers that aren't making them laugh? And
I'm not saying
I
that.
don't know. I just think their experiences when they were kids at weddings, you know.
Do you know what? I get that.
Auntie's wedding and stuff, and they see a photographer going, right, all you move, you get all close together, and they don't experience the one-to-one with photographer or videographer when they're at another wedding.
Yeah, so they're not. But I get
they're
that.
not used to the intimate side of it.
Yeah, it's lack of familiarity because I mean, we've done lots of wedding fairs together. I mean, I get the thing sometimes people, but you'll get somebody they're opening line. It's normally like a mother of the bride or groom comes up and goes, "I hate magicians." You think, why are you stopping him? That's our opening gambit. I hate magicians. I hate magic. Great. Do you want to see a couple of tricks? You know. Just really feeling really on a high, standing in front of like a banner with all of my face full of magic. She's just going to hate everything about this. But, you know, I've got the brochure in my hand. Show me why it's this much.
I'm surprised he hasn't
okay.
I'm surprised he hasn't brought the Katy Perry picture with him.
Yeah,
we go. Here we go.
We could put it on the wall for you.
Well,
because usually behind you, wherever you walk, is a Katy. I think you wear some sort of harness with that picture behind you.
Right, okay.
Behind you with Katy Perry.
It's interesting. So that was a gig. It was the same year as the wedding awards, and I remember doing that gig, and I thought there was no photos there because it was like a private party. I thought if I don't get like a photo,
no one's going to believe
it, are they? And
so is it a private party for Katy Perry? Because I'm going to keep mentioning her name because I'll get a lot of hits.
Yeah, unless we start singing the songs, and then you might get like a copyright.
Yeah, lawsuit now.
That's Katy Perry.
Yeah. It was at a venue in London called the House of Magic, run by a good friend of mine, the magician Simon Drake, and I used to work there all the time. And he phoned me up a week before and said he just had a call from my sister, and they were coming over to do the X Factor. They wanted to do a private party there, just them, only about 15 people, and did I want to go and do it? And we did, and I did, and it was great. And she was really lovely. She was exactly what everyone that is like a fan of her wanted to be. Because sometimes you sort of come across famous people, and they're a bit of a
Arthur.
Yeah, I find the lower down the rung they are on the fame ladder, the worse they are. You know,
Right.
the very, very nice, or the very, very the people that are, I suppose, work very, very hard. You don't become as successful as Katy Perry by not working very, very hard and having a certain amount of talent as well. So the people that are at that level are generally very nice, but it's the people that kind of come through perhaps, I don't want to kind of be derogatory, like reality TV shows that tend to be a little bit, I don't know if they're there. It's like, why haven't you recognised me? I like nothing better than kind of pretend I don't know who they are, because I often don't know who they are.
It's probably the bitterness of not getting to the success that they want to be at, I imagine.
Yeah, I guess
Or
so.
some of them think that's how you've got to be if you're really
Well, it's also
successful.
fame. It's fame without without talent, isn't it? It's fame without anything. It's fame just for being mouthy or, you know, I don't know, very open to kind of filming any aspect of your personal life, which is, you know, we'll watch it. Well, I imagine you watch it. I don't watch it.
I
know you don't.
Don't watch it.
No offense to anyone out there that wants to, but I mean, we've been to weddings before where they are like,
oh yeah, like the Towie people or like Love Islanders, yeah.
And like people are like, oh my god, it's Sam. We're looking at each other like,
really?
I don't know
who these people
And it's not even funny because you say, what's your name? And they think you're taking the piss.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I genuinely not really any
don't know
idea.
who they are.
I'm not bothered by it. You know,
No.
it's fair play to them. They've earned a living from that. It doesn't bother me. It's just not. It don't interest me.
I just always wonder about that kind of thing, the game plan of the longevity of it. You know, I mean, we talk about it in our industry. Like, where do you
Panto.
go with it? Pantomime. There you go.
Panto.
I think pantomime is incredibly difficult to do. I mean,
Well,
I think it'd be tiring.
We go to the Panto near you, but it's
at the Marlow.
Yes.
Marlo's the
Canterbury.
best Panto.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Yeah.
That Ben guy.
The best
is
Panto.
So
Ben
funny.
Roddy.
Yes, he's
So
so
good.
funny.
He's very good, isn't he?
Yeah.
So
I've been to it a few times. I've
And
been to-
Michael Wong, is it Michael Wong?
He does the music. Yeah.
The music bloke.
I don't know that intimately.
He's the
that
guy,
level.
the conductor up the top.
Okay. Is he not down the bottom, the conductor? They're not normally the orchestra bit down the front.
No,
No,
he does
they're
it
in
from
the
the top
sides.
left.
Oh, really?
I think
Okay.
it's Michael Wong. I'm sure I've got that right. Sorry if it's not Mr. Wong. Sorry I've got it wrong, Wong.
He's not going to go there. He did go.
Sorry.
He did go there. Do you know what? I would go to the pantomime in London the last couple of years. And the amount of work that goes into a good pantomime is, I think it's quite hard. I mean, there's a lot of magic in pantomimes as well. There's always quite a lot of special effects.
With the introduction of LED screens and
It's amazing.
lights and stuff like that, they're amazing now. They really are. And they're so comic. Some of them are so funny. So funny.
But we always get tickets for the one
Hey?
for the one in Canterbury, like right
With
near
that
the
hand?
front. And then obviously this guy.
Do you go up?
Yeah.
So you have been to a panto at the Marlow, haven't you?
Yeah.
Are you bullshitting?
He would have the bench and that. He does the ghost bench and that.
Yeah. Well, there's a hand at the start, isn't there? Picks one dad. Because that guy, the dame, what's his name?
Yeah. Ben.
Ben.
Yeah.
He gets a boyfriend for the pantomime, doesn't he?
Right.
Every
Is
time.
it always you?
No, but they try and get
So
seats
we
right
put
near
right
that
in
guy.
the middle.
Yeah.
And we're like,
And
what
so
one
I'm
of these
crapping
years?
myself for the first, I don't know,
Do you?
Half
20
hour.
minutes.
Do you always
hour.
take the camera on just in case, get some content?
No.
we always sit you next to my dad, don't we? We're
Yeah.
like, no, you two
Yeah.
go in first. And they're like literally really resilient.
like
Your dad
Spot
that came
the
to the
ball.
wedding awards. Is that your parents that came that time?
Yes,
We
that
sat
was.
together.
Yeah.
That was the year we won. I think
Yeah.
he was with us when we won.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause I think
don't
you
know if I
flirted with
was.
my mum.
I can't remember.
Yeah, you flirted
you
with my
flirted
mum.
with his mum.
She
There's
was a
a
very
flirty
charming
picture of
lady.
him.
Yeah.
Not like you to be a flirt.
It's not, well,
Sorry, his wife. He's only a nice flirt. He's
that
not,
feels, yeah.
not handsy.
Incriminating.
His hands are on the cards.
Hands
nothing
on the
else.
cards at all. That's why I've got them.
I'll be touched.
It's like the equivalent of having an elastic band on your wrist. Yeah.
How is that trial going? Anyway, let's go back to famous people. I know for a fact
Yeah.
you've done a number of famous people, but one you told me about, I'm not sure if you're allowed to mention because I don't know if you told me in confidence.
What?
or not.
Who?
Well, you brought it up now, and now I don't know. I don't think there's anyone in confidence I'm not allowed to mention, is there?
Kate Bush?
No, Kate Bush. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that was at our house. Yeah, it was a really small party at our house, and that was like, no, don't take photos and that because she's very private anyway. And I think also there's sort of a fine line as well. If you're in someone's house, it feels a bit invasive as well.
Mm.
And she's obviously incredibly private. And it was only about 15 adults, few children. Her son was very young at the time, and it was a really idyllic party.
So it was just like a normal
Yeah, like a
family
little
party.
gathering kind of thing that they do, and that was through Simon. 'Cause Simon did all the effects for her tour years ago when she toured that one tour. But it used to be, I think, the day before Christmas Eve or something. They did it every year, and it was really like a really quintessential. I mean, the house was like beautiful, like just very festive, very warm. And then the kids, it would start snowing outside, and Santa would come up the garden.
God,
The kids, it was
so it's
amazing. I was
really
there doing a few
picturesque.
tricks. It was
She's
lovely.
from Bromley, I believe.
I don't know, Kent. I think her family's from Kent.
Or
Down this
Bexley. Maybe it's Bexley she's
Yeah.
from.
But lovely. Again, like really,
Really
just
nice,
down to
yeah.
earth, charming. It's like a cup of tea. That's the
And
word.
do you know what? I didn't appreciate her when I was a kid as much as I appreciate her on now, really.
Well, there's a new wave at the moment, isn't there, with the Stranger
Yeah.
Things sort of music
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
But if you ever track down the Tour of Life, I think it was on YouTube for a while, the whole show, which has got all the effects in it, and Simon's in it doing all these different characters and all this sort of stage magic, and that. It's an incredible show.
Oh, right, so he's on
Absolutely.
there as a magician.
Oh, it's an
doing it.
amazing show. Yeah, it's an amazing, amazing show. I think it was, I want to say late 70s, early 80s, I think.
What, the performance?
Yeah, the show, because it was the only show she ever
right.
did, and they filmed it once, and I think it was at the Hammersmith Odeon, and it's an incredible show. You know, when you look at just the performance and that of it, and just from an artistic point of view, it's quite something. Yeah, so it is worth looking at if you can find it, if you're, a music
'Cause
fan.
So just for
Tilly.
YouTube and search purposes, that's Kate Bush. of Stranger Things.
No, because Tilly's...
I've got this list here. How many other things we can work through here?
Any others?
What else have we mentioned?
No,
X Factor.
because Tilly's into it because of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
So she's now like the new generation.
Doesn't she dance as well, your daughter? She dances with gymnastic as well. So she'd appreciate it. I mean, Kate was extremely
we've
kind
shown,
of
we've shown her the video and
artist.
showed her, what was it, Kate Bush Day?
Yeah.
And you forget how young she was when she was doing. She was doing 17. I think.
It's amazing.
Sorry, Wuthering Heights.
Wuthering Heights.
She was 17.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Has she still got the range? Because she did perform about 4 years ago, didn't she? She went back out again.
Yeah, I don't know.
And everyone loved it. Everyone loved it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? That's the good example of someone that's got this incredible sort of talent, but has also kind of managed to find that split between personal life and performing life. You know, because that's the thing. If you look at kind of reality shows and that now, it's all about like, doesn't matter how good you are, it's what's the story behind it. You know, what got you to this and that kind of thing. So if you're on there doing, I don't know, singing, whatever you do, dance, magic, whatever it may be, it's like, that's great, but it doesn't matter how long you've done it. What's the message? What's going to connect with people? It seems at the moment it's not good enough just to have a very good act. You need to have a very good backstory behind it. You know, this is my last chance at this, or this is my, you know, this is going on in my family. I want to do this because of this. And I sort of see the logic behind it, but it's almost become a bit formulaic now. Like anything that goes through phases when it becomes regular. When X Factor, Pop Idol, whatever it was, first came along, that was like revolutionary. We all loved it.
Oh yeah.
And now it's a bit like we always know it's going to be the same thing. It's very, they headhunt quite a lot of the acts. I don't think that's a secret. That's always been the way, but I don't think
they do it now, do they?
What's that?
Well, that's why Rage Against the Machine.
I don't know.
That's why people started getting Rage Against the Machine in for the Christmas number one.
Yeah, because
which I love. I used to play that, Killing in the Name of.
Yeah, because it's like, let's try and knock it off.
Just try and knock it off.
Well, it was a factory, wasn't it? It was the last one was knocking the next one. Then 2 years later, you don't remember what happened to Sam. Steve Bruckenstein. What happened to him? Where is he now? I mean, you know.
But it's always the second place people that do well, like Ollie Murs, One Direction.
Yeah, why is that?
You know, it's always the ones
Come second. Come second.
It's always going to, you know, there's another show I don't really watch. I used to watch it, I imagine, but...
Well, there's a brilliant magician.
You're always going to get some diamond in the rough, you know.
There's a really good magician, a British magician, who Piff the Magic Dragon, who did America's Got Talent, and his whole thing was it looked like he was going to win it, and he deliberately didn't want to win it. He wanted to come second because the second gives you the platform that the show gives without the commitment afterwards of being attached to that show. But he's, you know, I mean, it was a close-up magician in this country for years, and then went off and did that, and he's incredible and then very, very good, very, very funny. Is that someone at the door?
Rachel.
Who is that guy? Do you do walk-ins here?
No, is that someone at home?
Have I got to go on?
No, leave it.
Is that someone at your house?
Yeah.
So we've been broken into.
We're not at your house. Sorry if we're killing the magic for anyone. We're not in
Cherrywood Studios.
We're at Cherrywood Studios.
Yeah, I didn't have that house.
Where are we? Are we in Rochester?
We're in Strood, which is just over the bridge from Rochester. So we're still in Medway.
Yeah.
When we put our postcode in, it says Rochester. Yeah.
Well, let's get back to you anyway.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. What else should we talk about?
I was going to say something. What was I going to say until Rachel's phone with the Ring Mobile
I'm sorry, but
interrupted us.
Once in all these podcasts we've done it, my phone's gone off.
I don't remember my phone ever going off.
And it's the Ring doorbell, which is the sort of thing in a public place when it goes off, everyone looks at it.
Yeah,
everyone. It's mine.
Everyone. Please leave the package outside.
So you had would we say a year off, Chris?
What, me?
From magic?
Yeah, I took a step back from kind of actively promoting and doing sort of wedding fairs. And I think after the COVID times and that, there was a lot of catch-up work, and I did lots and lots of weddings. And it marked about 20 years I've been doing it professionally, because I did it straight out of school. I remember the day I left school, finished A-levels, left school, had a gap year. And then I think 2 days after the last day, I got in the car, drove down to Wales, and was on a boat from Wales to Ireland for 6 weeks doing magic. So I worked on a boat. So, I mean, if I'm working, sometimes people go, you worked on a boat? They think a cruise boat, but this was a crossing boat where people they are not interested in seeing magic. So you have to work very hard to
you did that after?
Straight away when I went to left school.
Oh, right. Left school, right. Okay.
Yeah, straight when I left school and was there for 6 weeks, and then came back, started doing some, a few gigs here and there. I think I'd won the Magic Circle was like a young magician's kind of element of it, and I'd won the competition there.
You were into Phantom as well, weren't you? And wasn't you dressed a bit Phantom of the Opera?
No, that wasn't that. No, that wasn't that costume. No, that wasn't that. That was something I did afterwards. That was that was
because we both love Phantom. Do you remember? We both had this sort of coming together.
Yeah, over Phantom of the Opera. Well, no, it
was text messages of love. It was to each other. We literally
like quoting lyrics.
We literally coming on to each other. I think I even sent him a clip of me singing it, didn't I?
Possibly.
Oh my God.
If I can't remember it, it's obviously because I've tried to blank it out. But
Yeah, I would do that too.
no, the magic circle thing was at a close-up competition. I'd done that when I was in my last year of school, and then I kind of went off, did this boat, and then started doing a few little kind of gigs when I came back. And the year gap became went, so I never went to university, which I was going to go to have my place. And I was
What was you going to study?
psychology and law,
Right.
Oxford Brookes. But I remember sort of coming home and saying to I think it was my mum, said, "Look, I don't think someone at the door."
Just carry on. Don't
I
worry
said
about
to her, "I
Shut
don't
the
think I'm going to go to university. I'm going to be a magician." And she said, "Oh, that sounds lovely." And I thought, "Oh gosh, that feels like a." Is that
There
the
we
time?
go.
Is that 10 minutes?
That might not be far off.
Can I just sort of make a comment there that the doorbell going off seems to coincide with that? Has she just gone out there and pressed a button to make that fall to save that
That is the first time it's ever happened.
£100?
The first time it's ever happened. To save that 100 quid. We have someone, well, I mention this nearly every podcast. We have someone within 2 seconds away from when it fell off.
Really? Who was that?
She's getting a lot of press, this lady.
Okay.
Jenny Lynchfield, and she's a
Mention her.
Toastmaster.
She's
celebrant.
a Toastmaster, yeah, celebrant.
And she was, I said last time when Rachel's replacement is here, Kelly, I said she was a Buddha. She went, "No, she's not. She's a Buddhist." I went, "Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's a
Oh
Buddhist."
dear, a Buddha.
Anyway, I don't know. That might not be far off for 10
No,
minutes.
I don't think so. I think we've been talking for longer than 10
Okay,
minutes.
fair enough.
That's probably 20 minutes. What time did we start?
I have no idea. That's why I don't know.
We don't want to say times because it destroys the
It sort of
timelessness.
does, yeah, because no one knows when we filmed it. It's the mystery
There's
of
no
it.
windows in here either, are there? So this could be.
But there's
Like a
a
dungeon.
window behind that curtain.
think
I
it's
might
weird.
start introducing people between those curtains.
I was going to say, yeah, it could come out from behind
like
it.
wrestling.
So
We give them wrestling entrance.
you sort of start and then you open it up
Yeah.
and maybe they're standing there sort of-
Pyrotechnics,
yeah,
smoke.
or like half dressed, like as
Get
if they're not
rapping
ready.
with his bubble machine and smoke
Yeah,
machine.
Do people still have bubble machines? Is that a thing?
I've used a smoke machine in here.
Why?
For a scene.
Okay.
I
What scene are
played.
you doing in here with us? Is
I
that when
played-
you're dressing up as Phantom and sort of walking out? Like,
I played a
Never
character
seen it.
once, and it was my flat. I played this character that collected urine in a
Right.
comedy.
okay. That was good that you emphasised it was a comedy.
Yeah, it was a comedy.
Not like a kind of a
And-
mockumentary or drama.
He had a party in here. He had a party, and it was a strange old party.
I think I've seen it. I think you sent a clip
I
to me.
think I did
You
send it to
yeah.
you. Yeah, I had gold shirt on,
Yeah.
the usual gold shirt on,
Yes.
No. Yeah. Gold
silver
shirt and
pants, silver hot pants, and moon boots.
It's very hard. It's very
And she do.
difficult to disconnect you from those characters once you've seen you doing it.
It's very hard to disconnect.
You're very much a method actor.
Yeah, method actor, yeah. So, I've got loads of urine from all sorts of places now.
Just walking. I wonder what the smell was. That's what's behind the red curtain, isn't it? Just piss bottles
Anyway, Rach, who was at the door?
going on the side
I don't
of the
know.
All right, well done.
They
Well
left.
done. Thank
Oh,
you.
there's no one.
They
He
left.
reckons you've gone out there, pushed a button, and it's knocked the sign off. Did you know the sign fell off?
Yes. When
Oh,
I
right,
came in, I
okay.
heard it.
Okie doke. Right. Sorry, where are we again? We do drift off. I do apologise.
I can't remember. I sort of lost interest 5 minutes in, but no, I'm joking.
Fair enough.
At least he's honest.
Yeah.
No, I'm not really. What were we talking about?
So you did your crossing.
Yes, I did
you
magic all the time. Yeah, done it ever since. So yeah, and I took a year. Yeah, I didn't take. I took about a year out of just sort of actively doing wedding fairs and kind of promotion and that, because I thought at 20 years I was getting a bit slightly burnt out, I guess. And I think there's always a danger that I think especially with close-up magic, every time you go to a group of people, it has to be like the first time and very fresh and very enthusiastic. And I think if ever you get to the point where you feel like you're kind of a bit not phoning in, I think it was just that volume of work post-COVID. And I thought, I just need to take a step back and just see and also assess like where you're going with it, because your aspiration when you start is I want to do so many gigs a month, I want to do 20, 30 gigs every month and that. And then you get to that point and you go,
What's
right, where
next?
does it go next?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, where do you just repeat, or how do you sustain your energy? So you take a step back and that, and then just kind of
Reevaluate.
reevaluate it. Yeah. I know. I feel like I'm like that same enthusiasm of 20 years, because it's all, I think with anything, it's always about like it's cliche, isn't it, to say it's not the destination, it's the journey or something. It's that climb towards it. You're kind of always aspiring. So like the wedding fair thing is like, you go and do it because you're trying to get the gigs and you want to kind of get busy in that. And it's quite exciting to kind of, I don't know, you come back to it and people think, oh, where have you been? I've not really been anywhere. I've still been, I think probably because I dipped out of the wedding scene a little bit rather than anything, which is where a lot of my kind of people that I know very well are in. But I think it's healthy to kind of have a mixture. I think I probably dipped into the wedding
You
scene
also
a bit too
helped.
much.
Sorry, you also helped your wife, who's got a couple of cosmetics.
Yes,
stores.
yeah. So Charmaine's business, the salons and that. very much.
You've got 2 salons now?
2 salons, one in Ashford, just outside of Ashford, and one in Tenterden.
What are they called?
Beau Boutique salon, Beau Boutique.
Beau Boutique.
And they're really good. I mean, and that was just more of a kind of being the very geeky guy in the background. I do know that I'm not dipped my hand into sort of like offering beauty or cosmetic treatments.
I know you're having your.
Yeah.
I know you're having Botox.
Yeah.
Do you want to see this card trick?
Sort of me coming in, going, what's going on here? No, that was very.
Did you used to do tricks for them? Something?
No, I mean I've done. Of course, I sort of do when they do their kind of their open evenings and things like that. I'm there doing stuff, but it's really kind of the nerdy, businessy stuff behind the scenes, the accounts and stuff like that I was doing. Just because, again, it's always healthy, I think, when you do any kind of work for yourself, to look at different avenues. Like you do the weddings, you do this, you do other things, you do studio shoots and that. So we sort of look at that as a business. It's very different to being a solo performer, because the days now of being a performer, maybe having, I don't know, maybe a little agency where you have 10 or 15 people on your books, it's sort of gone, because everyone's got an iPhone, everyone's got contact everyone. So it's not like you can go to someone, well, I'm not free, but I can send you this person. They go, who's their name? And they tap them in, get them.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So you look at that as another business, because it's a business that's perhaps more scalable. Sorry, am I boring you?
It's actually just told me that I'm interviewing you.
Oh, okay. It's intelligent.
Good, because he's boring me so much, I forgot who it was.
Time to stand. So we sort of spent some time on that, and actually I suppose it ties into, having always done this since I left school, you never really realise what you're kind of missing somehow, and having that time just to sort of structure and reevaluate how you split family time. So 2 young children as well, you don't want to always be the one that when they grow up they go, never really saw dad
I'm
at the
exactly
weekend.
the same.
Because predominantly this work is weekends, evenings, and things like that. And my daughter's 11 now, and she's starting to get kind of to the point where they're less, they kind of find their own thing and they want time to themselves.
Oh, is she 11?
She's 11, yeah.
I can't believe that.
And then my little boy's 5, so he's still kind of young. And I think you want to find that balance. So there's a few magicians sort of outside of Kent, London based, that are older than me, but I kind of do it very well, and they seem to have found that really good split where they've got a very good career in magic and kind of work, corporate work and weddings and all those kind of things, but they've also got very good family life as well, because there's plenty that are very successful, but it's just them and their missus, or they're by themselves, or they've got very weird family lives. And I think you want to find the right way to do it.
We're exactly the same as you, which is why we don't just do weddings, because we don't want to be every weekend.
No, I think you've got to find that split. And like tonight, I mean, I'm doing tonight like a birthday, like a private party thing, a 50th birthday, which is always a good crowd, up in, it's not far from here, like Bexley or something like that. Good evening thing, and it's a really nice big party, and it means like tomorrow you could be off, spend the day with the kids, have family night, because we used to have like, through the COVID, we were like doing like Friday night family film night, Disney Plus was out, it was cheap, all sit down like that.
So you're going home and then back to Bexley?
Yeah.
Oh my, that. Some Americans listen to this and they're going to be thinking, oh, that must be hundreds and hundreds of miles. But to us, it's enough to pee me off. Yeah, no, it's enough to piss me off. Like we're talking about 70 miles, I suppose.
40 minutes here and then back up again. It's
like they go shopping that distance.
Well, that was the thing. And that's something that I find as you sort of get older, and that, like when I was younger, I'd be if I was doing a gig in the evening, I would want to be at home where I couldn't think about anything else. I was just thinking about that. But now I think, well, I come here, go back, pick up the kids, we'll have dinner, and then you go out and do the gig in the evening. You kind of find that, but you sort of grow into that a little bit. And I think it's important to find that, because what you don't want to do is get to kind of like 50, 60 and think, I've had a great career, but at the cost of, because they're only young for a short period of time, children. And I mean, it's, people always ask, are you doing tricks at home all the time for kids? And not really. People, oh, you must be brilliant at home, must be so funny at home, and there's so much magic at home all the time. No. Because it feels a bit like, I think it would get on their nerves. I mean, I practice things on the kids sometimes, and they kind of, might feign some interest. Or in the lockdown, I taught my daughter some tricks. They had to do some stuff for school and that, and we filmed in that for that. But again, you kind of want to find that thing where it doesn't. You've got to also have like your family time as well. But I'm, if we're watching a film, I'm always fiddling and noodling, I think they call it.
You've always got a deck of cards in your hand.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah.
Are your kids interested in
Must
magic?
be hard in bed. I bet the missus has got loads of paper cuts.
I was asking a serious question, then you just come in with that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Trying to think about it. So it's not massively disgusting.
What was I going to say? You got something to say to him?
No, I was just saying, are the kids interested in magic? Do you think they would follow you?
Take it on?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I think I suppose it's like anyone that does something that they're really into, you never want to feel like you're pushing it on them. I mean, you know, they feign interest in stuff. They might pick stuff up and piss around with it, but it's not something that, no, I can't say they're massively into it at the moment, but I think kids are in a different way now. You know, they've got tablets, they've got access to so much information, they've got more toys than I ever had when I was a kid. So I think they've kind of find different things to be interested in. They'll find their own thing as well. My daughter's very creative and she's very into art. She's super organized and that kind of thing. My son's just into everything at the moment and just
cars.
Kind of,
Is it typical boy sort of mud? Worms?
Rugby, football, you know, and then things I don't understand. Minecraft. What are you writing a note on this?
I've got questions for you, but I always forget them, so I'm writing them down.
Preparation is key.
Yeah. No, just as I speak to you, I remembered other stuff that we're connected with.
Oh, what else are we connected with?
The Tab Theory.
The Tab Theory, which was your sitcom that came out.
Yeah, you gave me a lot of input on that.
Last year.
It wasn't. Do you know it was 21?
Was it? But was it in the COVID time? Because you did like a launch party.
Shot it in COVID.
Yeah, we filmed it.
You come and did the magic for us.
When was that? After it?
2021.
Yeah, there was a lady there actually. I think she was the wife of one of the people in it. And she said, I said to her, I'm doing some magic. She said, I hate magic. And I did some magic for her. And she said, oh, I quite like you. And I think, do you know, that's interesting because I think if you're coming up against people that are like that, you go, well why? Why do people not like magic?
That's what's moving me on to it. It's not just the magic, it's your personality as well.
But no one's actually going to say to us, I hate videographers, are they?
It's a bit
no, they are. I hate being filmed.
I remember there was a guy that did wedding photo booths, and I remember him really well. And I can't remember his name now. And they just did photo booths, and it was down at the Grasshopper at Western. A lady came around. I was next to her at this wedding fair.
Grasshopper.
And a girl came round, and he said, this woman came and he put her in it, you know, and did all the photos, and that was really big and up to her. And she had all the photos that came out. He says the picture. What do you think? She said, I hate having my photo taken. And it was like,
why are you doing this then?
And I think, well, what is it you don't like? There's nothing wrong. And that's the same thing with people going, I don't like magic. You sort of have to drill in, well, what is it people don't like?
Yeah.
It can't be, you know, is there something deeper on that? You know, is it that there's nothing to be scared of? I don't think there are many performers that go down the route of kind of that kind of mystique and real.
I just think it freaks them out. It freaks them out where I think it's amazing, but I know it's a trick. And the word trick is there.
What is it that people don't like about it? Or is it, but I think I can only kind of think that people have had either a negative experience or something in the past. But it's like, if you see or seen something bad that they didn't like, so if you go to a pub and there's a rubbish singer or a pub books singer and they're crap, they don't never book a singer again. They just book a different singer.
Yeah.
If a place books a magician and the magician's rubbish or it doesn't go down well, they don't book a magician again. They go, we're not having a magician. We've tried that, it doesn't work. Yeah. And you go, well, why? Because everyone's so varied. And there's when we do like the bigger wedding shows and there's multiple magicians there and people go, there's a few of you there. But everyone's so different. And I think...
Well, that's the thing. See, I think that's why we connect with... I've used the word connect, which annoys me slightly.
Should we hashtag collab?
I hate journey.
We connect with you quite well because you've got a very similar personality to us. Where you've got you're the piss-taking magician. You know?
Well, let's not... Well, I'll try not to use that.
Is that your tagline?
I think you should be called the piss take. You have a laugh with the people you're doing.
I think you just don't take yourself too seriously.
I've seen some very nervous magicians. They're nervous with the crowd. They're very good at what they do, but they're nervous around the crowd. Well, you're not. You just have a laugh with them.
Do you know what I think that comes down to? Is it's that real fine line with magic where if you take it very seriously or you're putting across in a way that you're trying to portray that you've got some kind of skill or power in your
ability, yes.
There is always that element. If something goes right, isn't someone going to go, wasn't it just like a trick or something? Or if it, you know, if they catch you or something goes wrong or you drop a card or something, people will go, and then the whole illusion around it's shattered. Whereas if you don't go in with that approach, then there's no nerves of that. And it's...
I have filmed you where it's gone wrong. I've filmed you where a cup's gone over and the large fruit
it's already there.
Too early. But it still looked like magic. It looked like you meant to, the way you did it looked like you were meant to do it.
So there's a really, really good magician. There's a good theory out there. There's an American magician, probably the best close-up magician in the world. And he talks about this idea of, we think we know what people want to see. We think we want to go out there and they want them to be fooled and they want to be fooled and they want to be wowed. They don't. They want people, especially British people, they want to catch you out. And they were like, you know, if you go up to them and you're very smooth and you're like, hello, you know, good evening, and you're very suave and hello, ladies and gentlemen, all this, they'll go, the guy will think he's peacocking for my wife. I don't like him. He's smarmy. I'm going to try and catch this guy. I'm going to be... If you go up there and you're a little bit awkward or you're kind of chatty and a bit fun or friendly, they'll feel a bit comfortable. And you kind of, I did this thing for a long time where I sort of used to wear a suit with a waistcoat that didn't match. And people thought, is it a fashion statement? It wasn't. It was deliberate. I think if there's something slightly off about you, they go, I can handle it. There's nothing wrong, but they feel like I can handle this guy. I feel like you can,
Because we used to take the piss out of your suits all the time, didn't
absolutely,
we?
yeah. Which is another confidence building.
Every time I went to a shop with a dodgy suit in, like a Doctor Who type suit, I would send you it. And I would send you, here we go, here's one for you, Chris.
This is my thing for years. I mean, this is back before I knew you. This is I used to wear, I found it in Baron John, which is a shop that's no longer there at the designer outlet in Asheville. I found 2 linen suits, which is daring as it is, but your late teens, early 20s, no different. And there were 2 there. And I went in, the guy in there, he was about mid-50s. Oh, you're not your age, but sorry. He was ultra trendy, but a guy that had all like a bit of a geezer, but a guy that's sort of deliberately dressing quite young. He's in this trendy gear, and he told me I looked great in them, so I obviously believed him. And one of them was white linen with a black pinstripe, and one of them was brown linen with like a cream pinstripe. And I went with the white one because I'd seen will.i.am on a Black Eyed Peas video wearing a very similar suit. I thought that looked great on him, not realising I'm not like kind of that cool or a singer or a rapper, that. And the other one, I just thought that it went with it. It was like one of those things where you buy two suits, it's cheaper, So I bought them both, and I used to wear the brown suit with Converse. I thought it was really cool, and this is no right. And then I stopped wearing it because I think 2 years later was when Doctor Who got rebooted.
Yes,
and people thought I was dressed up because I wanted to look like David Tennant, which I hadn't. And there was all these kids coming up weddings going, oh, great, my kid love a photo with you. It wasn't because I was good at magic, it's because I got TARDIS. And it was like kind of a thing. I thought, I'm still young, I'll have this kind of trendy look. And I actually used to, I struggle with getting shoes that don't hurt my feet. So I used to wear Converse as a bit of really comfy. And it went through a phase of like grooms at weddings that are like, that kind of grooms that had this, there was a phase where like they would wear Converse with a suit and the trendy suit came in. So I thought if you wear that kind of look, that kind of goes with it. And so I stopped because it was conflicting. But I've always liked a suit. I think it's a fine line though, because I remember doing a wedding. It was like a barn somewhere, and there were a lovely crowd, and I had wearing like a kind of a tweedy kind of check suit or something, and it looked great there. And then in the evening, I went to a very, very kind of like very upbeat shows at like party at like a rugby club, and they just thought I was dressed like an effing clown. You're a fucking clown, so it's different things. So when I'm going to a sort of an evening thing now, I think the safest thing is just go black suit, black t-shirt, waistcoat if you want, and that sort of very Ant and Dec look. But it kind of.
I used to have a spell, didn't I? What did I used to wear? Like beige trousers.
You had a blue, beige trousers and a blue waistcoat.
And I used to send you pictures of that because you used to abuse me over that.
And the
standard Simon Burridge uniform,
though, wasn't it?
It was ideal for me for shooting weddings because the waistcoat was ideal for batteries and things.
My thing as well is I think if you're in a wedding and for me, I'm in the video or in the photos, you should look decent.
Yeah. I can't bear photography. I've seen someone double denim. A photographer double denim before.
Yeah, I mean, double denim's questionable anyway. Kind of
but like,
perhaps,
I think it's disrespectful. If you're not going reasonably smart, and you can sometimes get away with wearing jeans and a waistcoat, it still looks smart, but I don't do that either. But I've seen jeans and t-shirts. Yeah, I think it's really...
It's almost disrespectful to the wedding, isn't it? And I think, I've seen guests
Or am I just old? I don't know. They don't care.
Because I think I get myself in trouble sometimes. Because I remember doing a wedding, it was at like Chilston Park or somewhere. With one guy who was a guest, and he was in like jeans and a shirt that didn't fit us hanging out. And I said, like, didn't you know it was a wedding today, mate? I think it's an icebreaker. And he sort of took it in slightly the wrong way. But I'm also thinking, well, a wedding is like, having a nice venue, people are paying a lot of money for it. So I think you have a duty of respect. And I think, part of the reason I took some time out was to get myself a little bit kind of healthier again, because I think I've become a little bit unhealthy. And I start to sort of like, I'm walking around, I'm getting a bit wore. I thought, you know what, I'm doing everyone a bit of a disservice here. So I think you do have a bit of a duty. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with anything. I think everyone has got their own space. You should be comfortable in your own skin, but just a personal thing. I think if you're not giving the couples, because it's very easy to stand at things like wedding fairs and that and give a big pitch, and I'm going to do this on the day and that, and I'm this and I'm this. You got to make sure you're doing that every time.
I'm going to abuse your guests.
I'm going to abuse it. One guy said to me once, I said, I want to put you forward because I love all that kind of humour. I love all this sarcasm. I'm thinking, I don't really understand what he means. They said, we saw it at a wedding. It was really funny. And I don't consider myself to be a funny performer. I've in my head, I was like really serious. And I'm always feeling with I'm always trying to better myself. And I look at myself on videos that people are doing. I think this was crap and that was awful. I need to be better. And I think humour comes out of just saying things out of sheer panic, having no presentation. I put together things, and I think
you're 50% magic, 50%
but you're
entertainment.
Very smart,
honestly.
Very witty, and very clever.
You're quick. You've had 20 years of
that's panic, though. That is not any way.
But it's funny.
Kind of
it's funny, and that's what helps. That's why I think.
Well, I can tell you the difference.
I class you as one of the best in the circuit.
Yeah.
I
that's
really
very
do.
Kind
I class you. Actually, because I know you, I class you as the best.
Stop it.
Circuit.
That's very kind of you to say it.
And I have filmed this guy. Right, I'm going to stare at the camera for this bit. I have taken a camera. He's had a card like that, and I can see the card.
Yeah.
And I have put a camera that close, 4 inches away from this card, and the card has changed. The card's changed. And I've slowed that down. I've done everything.
Well, this is the thing, though, isn't it? Everyone's in the generation where everyone's got a video camera. So I also think as well, I think there's a real a duty of you should always be trying to master your craft. And so there's always someone, no matter what and that's brings back to the entertainment value. If you're at a party or a table and you're having a lot of banter and people are laughing, afterwards people think, is that the reason why? Is that so you can kind of get away with doing things and that? But there's always going to be one in every 100 people that they're just going to zone in on you and stare at you. So what they look at and what they're trying to appreciate has got to work, and it's got to be slick, because I think everything should be slick. But it's that you don't want it to be slick at the risk of not being entertaining, because actually one of the things is entertainment value. Something it's really hard. I think it's, you can stand there and do 10 tricks at someone, but how do you do it so it's interesting? What makes it worthy of their time? Because if you reduce close-up magic down to its absolute bare, you're being paid to go to a party you're not invited to, go up to people you don't know, interrupt their chat to show them magic tricks that they didn't ask to see. And it actually sounds quite depressing. It's basically like speed dating. It's like hitting on people over and over again.
Well,
really,
in a way, it's like the kid, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like having a kid and go, oh, look, Tommy wants to show you something.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, that's a tactic.
Going like this all the time.
Yeah, can I show you this? Look at me.
Let's have a look. See well done. Right, what was we talking about?
People do that. I mean, if you go to, a wedding's a good example because it's a mixed generation thing. So if there's kids there, you can always you can hear people going to their kids, oh, there's the magician over there. Say it loud as well. If you find kids at a wedding early on and show them lots of tricks, get them really excited, they're going to tell all the grown-ups or the adults. And grown-ups is very much like talking to kids, isn't it? Adults, and they tell them, oh, the magician's great. So when you go and see the adults, the expectation is low.
The kids have already done the promo.
But they've said it. The kids have said, oh, the magician's good. So if you come up and you're a bit weird and a bit awkward and you're kind of there doing like a couple of things, they go, oh, let's just tolerate this. This will be crap.
And get blown. Some people
are going under the radar, perhaps. And I think that's probably better.
It amazes me.
I think some of the best photos are when you the reactions, and they sit there and they're like, oh,
but that's because it's about human interaction, isn't it? And it's always about the guests. I mean, we've talked about it before. We've done work together. Is everything you do, the reaction moment, you try and put it so it's got the guest in it. So if you're revealing something, their money ring, or you're doing a trick, you try and get the moment in their frame. So it doesn't really matter if I'm not in it. It's that, because that's what the people want to see. They want to see their friend or their auntie or whoever it is responding. They don't want to see me going like, hey, look at me. That doesn't convey anything. And it's really hard, because those photos, you need a couple of pictures, profile photos, but really what you want is reaction photos.
Do you get nervous? I know obviously you try and hide it, which is a good thing, but do you get nervous before gigs and stuff?
Yeah, do you know what? I think all performers get nervous to an extent. I think when you stop getting nervous is perhaps when you need to perhaps evaluate if you're challenged enough.
Yeah.
We're exactly the same, because you're going to start making mistakes.
I think you start making mistakes. And I think nerves is a byproduct. And there's a really good book called Golden Rules of Acting, which is written by a guy who's an actor, but he's also a very good magician, Andy Nyman. He's also a Darren Brown's producer, director, and a co-writer. And he wrote this little book, but it applies to performing in general. And he has a tip in there where he says, if you turn the word nervous psychologically into the word excited, it just changes your mindset. So you've still got that adrenaline that nerves creates, but if you turn it into a feeling of excitement, it kind of eliminates the worry that goes with it. Because actually, what are we nervous about? Exactly. If you're going to do that, especially for me, if you're going to do, one of my mentors when I was young, a guy, Pat Page, a Scottish magician who's passed away now, but he said, I remember saying to him once, what happens if a trick goes wrong? And he said in Scottish kind of way, I said, but you're not, Hart said, you're not saving lives. If a trick is wrong, you just do another one.
You don't get shot.
Yeah.
No, you wake up in the morning, okay, you're going to feel a bit, it's ego more than anything. I think with magic, it's like, oh God, I'm nervous because if I muck this up, or if I'm doing something in front of magicians, muck it up, it's ego. Perhaps you lick your wounds a bit and move on. But I don't think in the grander scheme of things, you should have. But if you don't get nervous, then perhaps I don't know. Arrogance is the wrong word, but cocky? You don't want to. Cocky, perhaps a little bit. I don't know, but I think feeling nervous is a good thing. I actually think it's something that shouldn't put people off performing, because if you are nervous, it means you probably care about what you're doing.
And it gives you that bit of adrenaline as well.
Yeah, I'm nervous on the way here. I'm thinking, God, what am I going to talk about? I've got nothing interesting to say. What we're going to speak about.
There's always a good nervous, but then there's that too nervous person.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always those tips of what you can do to eliminate stage fright and all those things of quick breathing beforehand and pushing the wall and all those little things that the performers do backstage. But I think if you're comfortable in what you're doing, if you've rehearsed what you're doing, it's different, I suppose, if you're going into film, like if you're worried about filming a wedding or something, if you've got that nerve, because I suppose for you, it's the duty of kind of thinking, I've got one shot at this. It's not going to happen again.
That's all the nerves. Yeah. And I don't really get nervous. I get worried.
Worried perhaps is the thing.
I'm worried about, I'm just worried that I've prepared myself. I need to be prepared. It's not really a worry. I don't get nervous on stage when I'm playing guitar. No. And I've played a couple of thousand people. It doesn't bother me that much, because who remembers if a bass player plays a wrong note?
Well, this is
I just laugh it off. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's got to a point before where I've gone to do a bass solo and completely ballsed it up.
Yep.
And you had to start again.
I just laughed. I just turned it. I just went do 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 do. I just turned it into a joke, and no one's gone away going, "Did you see that bass player mess that up?"
Yeah,
because they don't care. No. Do you know what? The most important thing to say to someone is, "You're just not important enough."
Well, do you know what?
It's just not important enough in people's lives for them to give a crap if you've made a mistake.
There's a really good book, actually. It's about entertainment. It's called Directors. The subtitle's Directors' Notes for Magicians. It's written for magicians, but it talks about nerves in there. And he said the big secret about what you're doing is that, and it's 3 words: is they don't care. Actually, you go up to a group of people. There's this thing about how do you interrupt a group of people at a wedding, and what do you got? Look, the worst case scenario is you go up to them doing some magic for the wedding, and that so they've got to be in a really bad mood if they say, "Look, bugger off." And that's it. I had it once. I tell you, when I was younger, I used to do a lot of weddings down in the weddings used to be very different to what they are now. It used to be kind of church registry office, then a very large hall with 100, 150 people in, and there wasn't really the market there is now, especially in Kent, of barns and these structures and these, format. It's certainly not where I was, but, because no experience, then you're just doing whatever gigs. But I remember going up to a table with people at this wedding, and I said, the guy was clearly drunk. And I went up to the table and I said, I used to be kind of a bit nerdy and a bit awkward, or more so than I am now. I go, "Oh, this is magic." And he said, "If you're a film magician, why don't you fuck off?" and I didn't know, it sort of threw me a bit, and I was kind of, "Oh shit, what do you do?" So I kind of just sort of walked away, and I thought, I'm not having this from this guy, And I went to the next table and did everything I could, like all the A material, got them really excited, and someone came up to the buyer, like sort of a bit later on, and said, "Oh, sorry about him. He's he's always a bit of a pain. He does that all the time, and would you come back over?" And that, and I started them, and I thought, God, I felt a bit kind of it threw me. I said, maybe if I get time at the end, but I thought, this guy's an arsehole as well. By that time I was annoyed, I was pissed off because he'd done that, and I did go back over, and he turned out to be a really great punter. But it was if you get someone very, very seriously that kind of really doesn't want to see you, or you get someone who goes, I really don't like magic, show them. I think the worst thing you can do is go, "No, I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes trying to convert you and make you love it," because that's just going to piss them off even more. And you'll become there's a really lovely thing of, actually, sometimes you forget when you do it all the time. There's people that have never seen magic before live, and for some people it might be the last time they see it as well. So for some people it's the first time, some people it's the last time. Some people might see it over and over again, but you kind of make it. That's potentially why there's people out there that go, "I hate magicians," because it's just a negative experience.
I think they just can't comprehend what's happened in front of them,
or why, maybe,
and it freaks them out. It freaks them out.
Yeah,
they get. When we film your stuff, and we film other magicians, obviously, when we film all of you guys, we watch the situation. The women are like, "Oh my God." The men are like, "Nah."
Yeah.
Nah.
But the men
the common response of a bloke is, "No way. Nah.
Yeah.
Nah, I can't. My brain can't handle what I've just seen."
You then get the men that literally watch every tiny aspect of what you're doing. Like, "Oh, I'm going to trick him out."
And it's the alpha male, isn't it? And it's that dynamic. And the group psychology dynamic is then to try and get that guy in, on your side as soon as possible. So, if you get pretty good at spotting that person. So the best thing you can do is make that guy your ally.
Yes.
So you might be doing a routine with cards, and at some point I'll sneak the card to him, and I'll consciously put it in his part, and then he becomes the focus.
Yes.
And then weirdly, then he plays with that the whole time. They're going, he was in, I don't know, mate. It feels like he's part of it. And now he's kind of on your side. And
that's a really good idea.
You find
rather than him trying to find exactly what you're up to, you just bring him in.
Make him part of it. And I think for me, the more you can give the moment over to someone else, the better. I've been working on some stuff recently, where I keep getting asked to these very small kind of gigs where there's like 10, 15 people for like a dinner or something. And you can you work through all your kind of stuff that you'd normally do, but sometimes nice to have a couple of things you might do in that situation, or maybe something a bit more formal. You do like an 8-minute set with cards and it's all kind of interactive and that. But how can you give away some of the moments so it doesn't just look like you being really clever and put the moments in their hands? And I think that's what people like about Closer, because they feel like they're right on top of it, perhaps.
Have you ever fucked up big time and thought, I'm actually going to have to come clean here and say I've messed up? Or do you just carry on?
I think there's definitely times, and I think you just kind of move on. I mean, I've cut open kiwis before and there's not been any money inside. And, so I have a routine I do that, the big climaxes, I put sort of borrow a note at the beginning, and I do it, and then I kind of change it. And
they sign it, don't they?
They sign it, and they say where they're going on holiday, and it changes the currency and all these different things. Then I go on and crack on with other tricks and that. And then the big climax at the end is like, there's this thing that's been like a keyword that's been in there that I've to get them to put in their pocket, or it's in on the table under the cup, that kind of trick. And the big finale is cut it open. They cut it open. I said, what would you made something inside? And they sort of say, I'd be amazed if it was in there. It's always when someone says, God, if it's inside there, I'm not going to believe it. And that's always the times when something's gone slightly wrong, they've cut it open, they've gone, it's not inside there. And then if you ever watch, you feel like there's panic on my face because
I bet they think that's a part of the trick.
Yeah, and they think, fuck, his acting's amazing. It's like, because when you see magicians, they do this thing of going like, is this your card? And you go, no, and they try and act, oh really? They know it's not your card, and they're kind of acting really. And this look of panic where they go, God, this guy's really realistic. This really looks like it's gone wrong. And it's a panic moment. But then what can you do? You just kind of have to carry on. And there's been times where what else has happened before? I've done I remember a long time ago in Canterbury, it was a really like one of those sort of country pubs. I was doing a magic evening. There was a stone floor. I was a couple of women. I was doing the wine bottle trick through the table, and I did the trick. There was a big reaction, and as I came to bring the bottle up to show, I dropped the bottle and it just smashed on the floor. And it looked like I'd just done that, and it just gone straight to the table and just smashed on the floor. I just sort of let it happen. It was
I bet they were clapping.
There was glass everywhere. They were like, and they went, was that not supposed to happen? I was like, no. And I do this. Yeah, I mean, but what what
that's the only trick I know is the bottle one.
What can you do about it?
Do you have to think quick sometimes? And think, shit, this has gone wrong.
All the time. And I think you have to you steer it in a way that just kind of try and bring it round. Or, I mean, if you've made a balls out mistake, or something's really not worked out, or someone's responded really badly, or something's gone, or you're getting into a bit of a weird situation with someone, the best thing you can do is kind of, I think, just stop and kind of start again or move on.
Or you just move on.
What's the worst thing that's happened? You can't find their card. I mean, what are they going to do?
I've seen it. What you do is you move on so quick that they've literally forgotten what's
and then do about 20 other tricks. So they're so far along the line, they just go, I don't remember what happened anyway. I feel a bit kind of...
Can you do me a favor? I don't think Chris is quite in that shot fully, is he?
It's deliberate.
Can you move him over slightly? You can just twist. Come this way, Chris. Come this way.
Shall I just move in?
Come this way.
So do you
half hour in.
He's got
I think you gradually settled and drifted out as you were talking.
I floated out.
Yeah. Mate, one of his tricks. Now, Magic Circle. Can we talk about Magic Circle?
Yeah, of course.
What is it, and are you in it?
Yeah, the Magic Circle is probably the most famous magic society in the world.
I know I'm saying, what is it? I know what it is, but I know nothing about it.
So the Magic Circle is, it's just over, it's probably 100 and something years old now. It was started 1905 in a small group of magicians. It used to be in a pub in London. It started, then it was at several places, and now it's got its own headquarters in London, and it's limited to, I think, a certain number of members. I'm going to fail myself now by not remembering, but it's worldwide, but it's audition to get in.
Is it next door to the Ministry of Magic?
What's the Mission Magic?
It's in Harry Potter.
No, it's not. It's sort of around Euston, and it's an amazing building. I mean, it's got a full museum there. Lots of very famous magic props are in there. Huge libraries, a theatre, club room, and it's I'd say fairly exclusive. I mean, it's certainly got a great moral code in the way it upholds the art of magic, and it's by audition to get in, so you have to perform.
That's what I was going to ask. How do you get in?
Yeah, you perform an 8-minute act in front of a group of magicians, and I think they invite people in now to sort of watch it.
Do the old thumb trick. Yeah, can I get in?
8 minutes of that.
Progress to the finger. 8 minutes of that, just standing there. Is he doing a trick or is he having a nervous breakdown?
Got your nose. Got your nose.
Although, you say that, and one of the things that people always love, I have this little midget hand that comes out.
You've shown me it. It freaks me out. It doesn't freak me out.
It's for no reason at all. People go, what was that? And it's like, I do that quite a lot. It's,
he has his little hand up here. Have you seen it? Tiny little hand comes out of his head.
For no reason.
Ridiculous. Haven't you got one that swears as well?
I did have for a long time. I thought it was a bit too...
No, I loved it.
A bit too obvious.
I loved it.
So the Magic Circle, it's a very... it's an amazing thing to be part of. It's a magic club at heart, but it's got obviously, the high values. There's lectures there all the time, shows, and it's nice. I mean, I think it's prestigious as well. So it does carry prestige. People still ask about it. I mean, it's still very famous. I mean, back in the 90s when Paul Daniels was on telly all the time, he used to mention it all the time in his shows and that on the TV shows. So people know about it. And I think it does and should carry a bit of prestige to it. And I think it's a good measure of ability. And it also pushes you out of your comfort zone, because stand up in front of peers and other magicians to do an act is challenging. But I joined it when I was young. I joined you have to be 18.
Okay.
Well, I joined it when I was there's a young magicians club element of it, which was you could join before you were 18, which was on a similar format. So I did that, and that was when I was in that. They used to do a kind of a convention day with a close-up magic competition. That was the competition I won. They gave me a little bit of a springboard to go out and sort of promote myself at gigs when I was young.
There's rules though, aren't they?
Rules about disclosing secrets and things, which is
that why Stephen Mulhern? Some people might not even realise that Stephen Mulhern was a magician.
Yeah, Stephen Mulhern was so Stephen Mulhern actually, when I did the competition when I was 17, we did the kind of the heats round, and then I got into the final and won it. But on the final thing, was the guy that was the judge, and he did like some little kind of pep talks and give direction on your act. So he was the one that kind of gave me some directions back then.
He's not much older than you though, is he? Is he similar age to me? What's he, 45 now?
I don't know, but he was a really good magician. Quick Trick Show, which was on ITV, which he fronted, was brilliant. And now he's kind of transitioned into being a presenter. He's a really good presenter.
Really good presenter.
And that comes out of...
But didn't he get kicked out of the Magic Circle for showing something?
I don't know if he did. Was that to do with the Quick Trick? Because the Quick Trick Show was an ITV Kids TV show, which they taught magic tricks on. So it could...
Maybe that's the reason. All I know is he was kicked out of the Magic Circle. But again, I don't know what for.
That's what the club kind of denotes as the rules, is that you won't do that. So although, I mean, there's a big thing in YouTube at the moment of people doing tricks, videos and showing how tricks are done, and for this kind of getting hits and views and ratings.
Do you see some of them and think, that's not how it's meant to be done?
Yeah, and you sort of think, well, why, what is that? But it's weird. It's like years ago, there was the Masked Magician on ITV sort of showing how tricks were done and how illusions work. And I mean, there's a big uproar at the time, but no one remembers it now. People don't know. And I think
I don't think it's going to affect your trade.
No, I don't think so. Because I think if you are just someone that relying on the trick and the secret, then perhaps it does. But I think the whole big thing that you get into the more you do it is you think the trick is really secondary. It has to be like the entertainment value first.
Look at it this way. Wrestling.
Yeah, pro wrestling.
Pro wrestling. They came out. It was called Wrestling Federation. They changed it to entertainment because obviously it's not real. Obviously it's an act.
Yeah.
And has that affected wrestling in any way, shape or form? Them coming out saying it's fake.
No, I don't think it has.
It's not actually fake. There's still people jumping off 17-foot ladders. And stuff like that. There's still, they get into it. It's just the only thing that's fake is the storyline and the outcome. They're still beating the hell out of each other. But
you tell lies, didn't you? That's the thing. With magic, you're telling lies all the time, aren't you? Yeah. But it's not malicious. And the same with the wrestling, it's not malicious. I mean, there was that very well-known Louis Theroux documentary years ago about wrestling where he kind of questioned it and said, is it acting, is it fake? And they were very closed about it, and rightly so. I mean, it's the same as when you see magicians kind of interviewed or talking about things. They will kind of skirt around the things because actually it's kind of that's what you're
need that bit of mystery.
That's the mystery, and it's what you're part of the magic circle. That's part of the rules to uphold the secrets and that. So there's plenty of magicians. If you're not in it, you could sit here all day long and go, well, this is how this works, and this is how this happens, and you go, well,
but it's still
not really what it is it?
It's still taking years to craft that technique.
Yeah, and
even if you show someone, they won't be able to do it straight away. Maybe a couple of card tricks.
Yeah, and I think, well, that and you're kind of respecting what you do as well. You know, the same way, like you said about the wrestling. There's an expression that say magicians are guarding an empty safe, which I think in one way is probably true in the sense that once people find out how a trick is done, it's actually not that interesting. You know, it's what you do with it that kind of makes, you know, sometimes you get the response is, I don't want to know. That tends to be a male response, is that I don't want to know how it works. I don't want to know how it's done. You know, I don't want to know. Yeah.
I think it's a very naive thought to say that some of your tricks are easy to do once you know, because they're not. There's the sleight of hand technique.
Yeah, the sleight of hand and sometimes the boldness as well. And I think the longer you're in it, the bolder perhaps you are with things is what happens. I mean, if you do, I do a bit of, no, I wouldn't say I do loads of it, but a bit of pickpocketing, mainly watches when I'm working. And it's always in the context of a trick. And it doesn't matter how long you do that for, there is going to be the occasional time when you are mid-flow stealing someone's watch, someone might notice. And what can you do? You just say, oh, sorry, I was trying to nick it, you know, you make a joke and move on with it. But
how can you do it?
When they don't,
how can you take someone's watch off their wrist?
But it's interesting because it's
well, it's not easy, but it's easy to be done because they're not aware of it, right?
It should be in the element, but if you take the watch and you're kind of doing it to make it look stupid, it's better in the context perhaps of a trick. So
you mean you don't keep them and just run off?
Yeah, just run away. I used to do it with that cup trick, you know, when I used to do the cup and the ball and the fruit at the end, and then I would maybe do it within that, and then they'd lift up the cup later and their watch would be under it. And that's amazing. I go, what? How did this, you know? But I've had the situation before where I was doing a trick and I committed I was going to try and get this guy's watch. And he was a guy, you know, very nice guy, he was getting married himself at some point. He lived in Dubai. I thought, this is the kind of wedding I'd like to do. So I thought I'd take his watch. Short of putting my teeth on his wrist, I could not get this watch on his wrist, right? I was wrenching. He must have been thinking, what is this guy doing? I had hold on, I was trying to do this trick. And look, it's changed faces again. I was doing this. And I got it eventually. I was sweating. And I got it, right? And I thought, right, he's done this thing now where perhaps he must know, but he's not going to say anything. He's going to kind of instantly, he's going to play along, right?
Yeah.
So I've gone through the rest of my act, and at the end is this little kicker finale I've said, and I've got myself on the other side of the table, so I'm not, and I said to him, I can't remember how I used to reveal it, but I pulled it out and I said, and this is your watch. And he was like clapping and cheering. I thought, brilliant, what a punter, what a great guy.
Yeah, what a great helping you
out. And I went off and I thought, I got a drink of water. I went, and he came over to the bar just afterwards, and I thought, this is where he's going to come over and have that little chat. Yeah, I knew, I felt it, you know. And he said, hey, can I have your card? I'm getting married. Just one question. When? You never touch me. I'm going, what? When did you get my watch?
Got your foot on his chest.
And he booked me, and I tell this story, and I tell this story sometimes when I'm talking to people at wedding fairs, and he said he booked me for his wedding, and he booked me off the basis of that. So I'm at his wedding. It was at, can't remember where it was, out the back of Canterbury, Knowlton Court, and I'm doing reception drinks in the and I'm going to do tables, and he comes over towards the end of reception drinks. I'm there with his mum. Pass her a couple of drinks to go and sit down. He said, oh, got to do that watch trick later. And I thought, I'm not going to get away with that again, because as soon as I touch him, he's going to know.
Yeah.
So I did something, and this is absolutely true. I was doing a trick for his mum, and his mum had a thin ladies leather band watch, which is fairly simple to take. It's one of the ones that would be more elementary. And I thought, well, I'm not going to get away with it now. So I thought, I'll do it now quickly, get it done. I'll take her watch, take it really quickly. He's seen it, took the watch. They call them through. So I've now got a watch, right?
Wicked.
So, but they now think, right, okay, fine, boom. And they go, ding, 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 bride going, boom, boom, boom. Speeches, they're doing the speeches first. Now it's longer. So now I'm sweating, so I'm thinking, but you're going to notice at some point that it's not there. So I think, does the speech, go to the table. I thought, I'm going to go to the top table, do a couple of tricks for him. And he said, oh, mate, you've got to do that. I said, okay, I'll do it for your mum. And I go down, he's watching me. So I go to his mum, do a trick for her, don't touch her, then bring her watch her.
Amazing.
He's seen the same trick in his head. Because all, close-up magic is the lies that we tell ourselves. You know, a good close-up magician is and that's not why I'm kind of always kind of funny about with filming that. Like for yourself, when we do film, you're always very good that you kind of know what I do, and you'll film it, and it looks really good after.
And I'll do it on an angle that I know is not going to...
And it's the memory that people remember. So there's things that people remember. And, you know, the amount of times I'll do a trick, I do tricks sometimes with like a wedding ring or something, you borrow a ring, it disappears. People afterwards, when they describe it to their friend, they edit that and they say, oh God, my ring disappeared off my finger and it appeared in a wine on the other side of the room. Because you edit out those moments by making it more, the emphasis on it. And people to, it's a wisdom of the crowds where people go, well, I was fooled by this, but I don't want to describe to someone and feel stupid. And they go, well, it must have been this. So I'll tell them this version of it. And they kind of, it's like Chinese whispers almost, that goes along. But that kind of thing like that, you feeling pressured. It's the same as you said earlier. Someone goes, oh, we want to hire you because you were so funny at that wedding. You're going, it was probably the people that were really funny that I was just playing off on. I got nothing. You go into the room and you're going,
I've got to work my magic.
You go, you'll come out and the photographer will go, this crowd is crap. You'd be working with a photographer or someone like yourself and you go, God, you tough crowd today. And you go, oh my God, this is going to be, they go, the guy thinks I'm really funny. And I go, okay. And I'll try and be funny. And then it has the opposite effect. Because you're only as funny as the people you're with.
Yeah. Have you ever sort of gone to have someone's ring or anything like that and dropped it or lost it? Or
yes, yeah. So you have, so the short answer is always a public liability insurance. But again, the times when it has been.
Have you broken stuff before?
Have I broken stuff? I've had a watch fall to pieces in my hand as I've sort of stolen it. That's the thing. And
it just gets sorted out.
Well, there's been occasions where there was one woman, it sort of broke, so I gave it back and it was sort of falling to bits. And she said it was old and it was sort of broken. But I would give my card and I said, look, I'm insured, let me pay for it to be repaired if there's a problem. But there's been times when I've kind of like, not through sometimes fault of your own, where you've borrowed a ring and you've dropped the ring as it, and you're thinking, where is that? And there's lots of magicians that won't do anything with things like a ring and that. Purely because of that fact of like, if that does happen, what are you going to do?
Well, you get nervous when I'm doing all this stuff with rings and taking photos.
I don't like her.
I think it outweighs. I think the risk is minimal compared to the times. But I'll say I'll go out tonight and probably lose someone's ring. But
well, when Rachel takes pictures of rings, she'll take them away. She'll put them on a bush.
Yeah, so
on a bush, not on her bush. She put them on her bush. Take photos of them. She put them on a bush or something. I'm like, Rach, what if it falls into the bush?
Yeah.
Then I'll go in and get it.
But no, I can't handle it. So I tell her not to do that.
It is nerve-wracking, but I think if something, you try to sort of, the big kind of rule is when you're going to borrow something off of someone, make sure there's other people around, and I think not because anyone's ever going to accuse you of something, you'd hope they wouldn't. But if you do something with a ring for someone and you're outside and it's dark and they're a bit inebriated, that they might try and make out you've stolen something. And very important as well, it's going back to that lesson that a friend taught me is with the watch steal as well. If you take a watch at a table, sometimes even if you're not going to give it back straight away, it's never a bad idea just to flash that watch in a way, just so that other people know that you've taken it and it's in no thing. They're in a net and then you're going to vanish it. Because another good thing you can do is you can flash the watch to the guy opposite, go round to him, give it to him. He'll put it on. Yeah. And then that's a better trick because now the watch has vanished from his hand and reappeared over here. That kind of making people feel part of it. So it's kind of like the magic is happening there whilst you're there and amongst you rather than you doing tricks at them. But also in the sense that you don't want anyone to think that guy's trying to nick that guy's watch. Because if they come back later and say he nicked his watch, I've lost 20 quid. Because I've had it before people come out and go, mate, have you got my watch still? And I think they're joking. They go, no.
And you're going, shit, have I?
I've stolen a watch once before and I forgot to give it back. And the guy came up later and he said, you haven't got my watch, have you? And I said, no, obviously not. I haven't done that. I haven't done that trick. And I found it in a pocket or it's gone through the lining of the suit and it has been gone. Right. Well, I've just started toking it and got carried away. Yeah. But generally, you just have to be a bit careful. If you were to lose something or break something, you'd hope it was seen as genuine as an accident. You haven't done it in a malicious way. But just be very careful. Try not to borrow really expensive rings. A wedding band is always probably better than a huge diamond ring. Yeah. Sort of, bring
and here's your ring. Yeah, but where's the diamond?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or is it still worth the same? It's not a fake, is it? It isn't now.
So with your tricks and stuff, do you feel that you have to update them and you sort of get rid of some and add new ones in and sort of constantly
That's a good question.
update?
It's really hard to change stuff because you get material that you think works really well. It's always nice to try new things. And I think you have a broad repertoire because there are going to be those situations where you're booked for 2 hours, you go in and there's 10 people. Like, what am I going to do? But one thing I noticed, realised this a long time ago when I was doing residencies. So I used to do lots of residencies and I did a residency down at a place in High, the restaurant. And I was doing it, and there was a group of people, and I did all my stuff there, and they loved it. And they came back the next month. They brought some friends with them. And I thought, they've come back. I've got to do different stuff. So I went to the table, did all different stuff. And then the guy came up to me at the bar. I keep saying when I'm at the bar, it's a point of reference. I'm not like always at the bar at like these gigs. And he said, "Oh, that was great. Lovely seeing you. But could you come back and do this, and this that we saw you doing last time? Because that's what we brought them to see." So I was kind of liking it to the fact that if you went to see your favourite band and they didn't do the hits, then what do you do? So if people click onto your show reel or they've seen you at a wedding before and they book you for their own event, they book you because they want they want to see those things. Can you just make sure you do that? Yeah. That's what they wouldn't see you do. And if you don't do that, they're kind of annoyed. So it's important to have your kind of core stuff, but for yourself as well, it's good to bring in new stuff and just kind of, often it comes out of, someone might make a comment about something, or sometimes the way a punter might kind of like guess what's going to happen. It's not what's going to happen. You think, well, that'd be a good idea. So you might work on that, but you should always probably, I think just from the nature of the time, the dead time you spend traveling to and from gigs, you're always thinking about what could be new, what could be better, and looking at. It's
probably the same technique, just a different storyline.
Yeah, different storyline. Yeah, what could work better with that? How could you make that slightly better, slightly bolder? Could you shave that into something different?
Use different objects.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's relevant, is it more relevant? I mean, you talk about a trick with the cup and the ball. For a long time, I used to be very self-conscious of that because I think, well, it'd be better to use like a coffee cup and a saucer off the table, and that's more organic. And actually, people don't care. If you bring a cup, say, look at, and you just do it with that. The cup really has no bearing, but by giving yourself that kind of backup, and you've thought about it to that extent, if there is a cup on the table, like, oh, use this one, and you start using that one instead, that's better.
That's what I was going to say. You've got to use what's already in front of them.
Yeah, I think so.
If you bring something
if you're bringing something to the table,
like they think there's something wrong with that. But if you're using something that's already on the table.
It's nice if the most esoteric thing that you're using in your routine is a deck of cards. That's the most unusual thing. If everything else you can borrow, things that you do with the people that are borrowed is always going to be more memorable. Because again, if you use it every time you talk about that ring, next thing you're out for dinner, I was at a wedding the other day, this guy took my ring, it was unbelievable. You won't say, he said, God, my ring, it just disappeared, didn't it? Like Simon, didn't it? And it was in his kid, I don't know, and you're going to talk about that more. Or if you get someone to sign their money and that, then when they kind of, go and spend it, there's a story, there's the, it's that ongoing thing. But going back to new material, always trying to do it. It's more prominent with stand-up stuff. So if you're doing kind of cabaret stand-up show, like for a corporate event, you're doing like a 20-30 minute stand-up show, and they book you again the following year, often that is a situation where you're probably going to want to do a different act. When you're doing close up, if they book you year on year, they generally will book you because what you did went very well. People remember one or two things, but they don't remember everything.
Yeah, and you're not giving them your whole arsenal anyway, are you?
No, and there's certain things that people remember, and you could be there all night, and you've got it builds like a show, close-up magic. So you'll be going around a wedding or a drinks reception, you're doing certain routines, and then you get to the tables and you're doing other stuff, so you're up in the ante the whole time. They're those things that you do towards the end of the things people remember.
I must admit, I do think you're missing a trick, pardon the pun.
Oh, hello.
With not having personal cards that are like...
what do you mean?
Playing cards.
Yeah.
As business cards.
Oh, I see what you mean.
It's ideal, isn't it? Because you end up giving a cards to someone anyway.
Well, I had for...
You see what I mean?
I did have a long time ago this routine where you do a whole trick, they pick a card and you do all this stuff, and then my business cards were like printed on like blank back playing cards, and I'd give them a business card out of my wallet at the end, and on the other side was the signed card. It was kind of that, but to me it felt a little bit too manufactured kind of thing, and I a deck of cards, people are signing them all the time. I give them away at the end of the gig, chuck them away. People have been handling them. They get a bit mucky. Someone drops them in the gravy.
Exactly.
Whatever.
So why not have it as a business card?
Because I think it'd be massively expensive to have them printed, and I don't know.
Do you think it would be expensive to have them?
Yeah. Just use a normal deck of cards. This is.
How much are you paying for a deck of cards? I bet you buy cards.
£2, £3, but you buy them in bulk. But I don't know. I think a deck of cards, if it's printed with your name on it, looks like more of a prop. It looks like something a bit unusual.
Fair enough.
So you just said don't bring something to the table. If he brings a magic card with his name on it,
I think it's a little bit arrogant. It's a little bit like being too, I don't know, maybe wearing gear that's... I've always had this kind of thing, and there's ways you can talk about it both ways. I can only talk about my perceptions. Ways of kind of... If I wore a really expensive watch when I was doing close-up magic to try and look flash, to some punters they might think, well, if you're wearing that, why are you doing card tricks at the table here? Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
There's an element of that.
Yeah.
And
I
don't think that matters.
While you were at my wedding.
But I don't think that matters, because then there's also the flip side of that argument is this guy must be really good because he's got that kind of car. He's got a really nice watch on, so that's great as well. So it's pluses and minuses. I think it comes down to your kind of persona and your thing. So going back to if I've got maybe branded cards, yes, there are situations where I think that would look really sick. God, he's got his own brand of cards and everything. That does look really sick.
I think it'd be cool.
I'm probably just more on the side of I'm probably just a bit lazy with it. And
especially that inside the bottle stuff.
Yeah.
But actually you want that to look like a proper deck of cards.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, do you know what I do with every deck of cards? Because if you go to a gig, and especially, if you're doing an evening gig where people are a bit lubricated, say someone sign your name, often people will write something rude on the card, they'll draw something rude, and then what are you going to do with that card? You're not going to go next day to like the garden party and then pick a card, here's one for your mum, and she picks out a card and it says something like, what does that mean?
Yeah, but you're not using the same. As soon as someone's drawn on a card, that's it.
It will stay in the deck for that gig. It will stay in the deck for that gig, and you'll use it over and over because you're there for 2 or 3 hours.
Cost effective.
If there's a kid there that's really into magic, you give them the deck at the end. To you, it's
got cock written on it.
Yeah. Mummy, what's it? The uncle says, I'll show you.
Do you ever show kids like gigs some tricks? Or
yeah, there's always a kid. There might be a kid.
So you should be, taken out of the magic.
Oh, no. Oh, you meant like teach them a trick? No, because there's no time. You can't be bothered. I used to have a little DVD which had about 10 tricks on it that were really simple for kids to do. I'd give that, I'd have them in my car and I'd say, here's one of it. Here's a trick. Here's some tricks, take these home, learn them. Often it's like enough that you just say to them, look, it's been great today. Here, these cards. I'll do a final trick, give them the cards in the box. They take that. People think that's amazing. Because for them, that's really special. Oh my gosh, this deck has done that. This is amazing. And I've had kids that again, you see them again at other things and they come back and they've got the cards and they've been practicing it, and they're about twice the size. It's all dog-eared. Show me that trick again, and you go.
Well, we have the same thing with cameras.
Yeah.
We use.
You give away the camera.
We let the kids use one of our cheaper, older cameras.
Yeah.
So if it's
cheaper,
if it falls out, they're all cheap. Like one of our old cameras.
Yes.
What we would use like as a
backup.
third backup. Yeah. We go around with that. And the thing is, they're going round filming family, and the family are far more relaxed because there's a little kid going around. And it inspires these kids. And we have, I think we're on our fifth wedding. Fifth? Yeah, we've got one fifth wedding from us letting a kid use a camera.
Yeah, really?
And then the dad's gone, actually, we want you to film our wedding because you've really inspired our kid, doing that. And last year, I filmed this kid. We took a photo of him.
That you filmed this kid?
Yeah.
Cut that.
Last year, I filmed this kid at another wedding.
Yeah.
A wedding that I got from filming him because he was like 4 or 5 when I first filmed. Yeah. And he's like 14 now.
Okay, you're still filming.
And I'm still taking pictures of him, sending it to his parents and say, look at the difference now, And I'm on the 5th wedding now. Where this is related to the fact that I let this kid.
And that's really nice, isn't it? To think that kind of thing
means a lot to them.
It's those little moments I think that are important, and I think, I do that. I do tricks with when there's kids at a wedding. It doesn't matter how good you are at magic or how brilliant you are or who you've worked for and all your portfolio stuff. If you go to a table or group of people at a wedding as a magician, there's a kid there and you don't use that kid, everyone will just think you're an arsehole.
Yeah.
They don't care. So get the kid. And I'm better at it since I've had my own kids because you're more comfortable. And you've got to have a certain type of personality as well. Because if you're a bit creepy and a bit weird and you come up and start manhandling or getting the kid to stand up, they'll go, get your hands off the child.
And here's his pants.
Yeah, it's too weird, It's like, because a kid will be either very excitable. There was a kid at the wedding fair on Sunday, and he came up and he had a cool name, and I can't think what it was, but he kept grabbing it, and he just kept grabbing them, grabbing it in my pockets, and the dad was sort of just standing there looking all ream, and he had slick hair, and he's like, his kid's there, he's slick hair, and the kid's just abusing me. Other people around looking and going, what's going on with that kid? Why is the dad not controlling? So I just picked the kid up on the moment, started walking up to the other stand and saying, right, let's go put you on a different stand. And he was laughing away, and I think those kind of things are okay to do if you've got the right kind of approach. You've got to have
experience with kids.
But with kids at a wedding, if they're a bit quiet and they say, do a trick with little Johnny here, and then you pick him, he's standing on the chair and he doesn't have any interaction, you've got to keep talking for him. Or if he's too enthusiastic, or try and gear it so it looks like he's getting one over on you, or he's mucking you up. Oh, that was so funny when he messed you up. You're thinking, I engineered that, he was giving me nothing. But that's funny, and they like that. Oh yeah, he messed you up, didn't he? You go, oh yeah, he did. Not really, but you were giving me, it was like trying to get blood out of a stone at your table. You know what I mean? Your weird Uncle Dave in the corner was texting his Thai girlfriend. You're not interested. and you're feeding the baby, someone's like breastfeeding at the time. I've had that before, people are there breastfeeding. It's an awkward situation, you know?
And you're like, pick a card.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, sorry, I'm a bit busy.
Let's see you for the right
Here's a breast pump, everyone.
It's a weird scenario, but you sort of think, what am I doing here? You know, or like you're doing magic over the camera at a wedding friend. They've got a screaming kid in the pram saying, like, we think we'd like you at our wedding, and they're trying to talk to the kid halfway through. Do you want to pick a cut? And over, you think you're never going to book me because I'm not creating any kind of moment here. This is just like labouring it. It's weird. It's awkward, you know.
Because normally, if they come up to us at a wedding fair and you're talking and they do have a child.
You're the guy that films the kids.
Yeah. And I've said to him, will you stop?
Anyone with a suit that comes up and asks him that.
You do the talking.
The thing is, what I find is really sad is I love kids. I love kids.
Yeah, good fun.
But because I'm male, I can't. If she went to see, she's lovely, and just picked her up without permission, no one would bat her an eyelid.
Is that a sign of the times more than anything, though, and how you have to be so kind of appropriate, what's appropriate and what's not appropriate? And I think you say about like kind of humour and being spontaneous, and I sometimes worry. I think you can sometimes say things, and I might sometimes say something or react to something, and it's funny in the moment, but you sort of say to the, you know, like someone like yourself afterwards, maybe cut that out, because if someone was watching that for the first time with no context,
absolutely,
then it could come across perhaps wrong, and that's any comedy, though, isn't it? I mean, that's the
sad thing of life, really.
I mean, we've had that.
We had that.
Really?
We was talking. It was edited weird, so we used to use an AI editor for short clips.
Yeah,
and this editor went onto the subject of someone being punched, and the person that got punched hit the curb and died.
Right. Oh, right. Okay.
But it's brought that together with her grinning. So I'm telling the story, she's
it's in his head. He's saying, I normally get so cross when people cut me up and I take it too far. So I've already taken them to court, punched them, what happens if they do this? And I'm going, you're fucked up. You know, I'm laughing at how fucked up it is. But
got the most hits. Yeah. Because everyone was moaning about how messed up she is for laughing at someone.
People are saying that I'm really mean and I'm laughing.
Context is a huge thing. Context is a really important thing. And I think actually you have got to be very careful of that and how you come across it.
Yeah, but you say that. You've got to be very careful of it. We've got the evidence to show
that it isn't that.
Yeah. But it's snap decisions, isn't it, now? And especially now in the context of like social media and and clips, and people filming at gigs, and they go, do a quick trick, or let me just film you in that. You got to just be mindful of what you do. I mean, you know what?
You've got to understand, sorry to jump in, what you've got to understand is half of this stuff is done on purpose.
Yeah.
Like we didn't even do that clip on purpose. AI made that clip.
Yeah.
Right? But people are making that type of clip on purpose just to get the hits.
Absolutely. It's the same with the magic exposure. You know, people are doing it like, find out, reveal, this has made magicians so angry. And you know.
That clip went through the roof for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's still going to take them to the full podcast where they're going to see exactly what was happening.
It's the element of failure. Well, that's why we look back to the reality TV stuff. We watch it because we used to like to laugh at the bad acts, and we want to see someone in the background that's got a really bad, crappy time or life or something, and we want to see them succeed. We watch it because we're weird. Lots of magicians use the thing of like, watch a magician, epic fail, goes, but then gets it back. And there's nothing failure about it.
It's the world of the cliffhanger, isn't it? But there was always been cliffhangers. You know, you watch like Incredible Hulk in the 80s. Yeah. Something would happen just before, or a car would be in midair and then wait till next week.
Cliffhanger endings of that. But that's kind of gone a little bit in the world of like Netflix and binge watching and everything coming out in one go. But cliffhanger endings used to be, I remember years ago, you used to watch something and you'd have to wait till
a week.
Next week.
You'd have to wait a week.
Do you remember Twin Peaks? That was a water cooler thing. It's like, what the fuck?
It's still there.
Yeah,
but it's just getting you to put the next episode on immediately. That's what it's trying to do.
You want to know straight, but you have to know straight away.
Look at things like.
But aren't things good that when they don't do that? When Broadchurch was on, that was one of the last things that was on every week. Yeah, and you could only watch it every week, and it kept people hooked.
Yeah,
but people don't watch TV in the same way now. I don't sit down and watch. You know, people don't sit down and watch something when it goes out anymore. It's like, I can get that later.
For you,
I can watch it later on catch up.
Yeah.
It's all about the figures now. You know, and the figures are, you know, you end a show with, and the winner is end.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to find out on the next one who the winner is. And what annoys me is they build it right up, and sometimes the start of the next one is so shit.
Yeah.
It's so shit. Oh, is that what I've gone on for? Just that?
Is that what I've waited for?
I opened the door and do you know what I saw? And then the next one is like a bottle of milk.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, you mean I've just put that on for that? I just made it up, mate. But you know where I'm coming from. Right, let's talk about puppets.
Okay.
Now the tab. Let's go back to me again. The tab theory had a lot of puppets involved, and I came to see you for inspiration because you have got a.
I have got a collection of puppets.
You've got a strange obsession with puppets. Haven't you?
I think it comes back to when I was a kid. About the time I got into magic, I had this notion I wanted to be a ventriloquist, and then I realised it was very, very hard. Because ventriloquism, not only on a technical level, but with ventriloquism, a good vent act is writing a huge amount of comedy script, okay? And there's nowhere to hide beforehand. And this is not in any way but a negative on it, with magic, you have the trick initially, and then humour can evolve out of it, and personality can develop over time. So the trick is kind of the thing. Whereas with ventriloquism, it's like, but I think puppets sort of fascinated me, the ingenuity behind them. And I got a couple of them when I was young. There was a very one-off shop that's not there in London anymore, in Kensington, that used to sell vent dolls, but old-fashioned ones, the old school ones. And I started collecting them, and it was just a weird kind of obsession. So I never became a ventriloquist, but I still have this great affinity for them. I don't know.
Haven't you got? Do you know?
No. Lots.
A good 30 or 40.
Yeah, and lots. Some of them are like real old, and they're made they're made of paper mache. Some they're old school. And there was a guy, Leonard Saw, who's the sort of the pioneer of British vent figures that long passed away now, but in the 60s, 70s, 80s was making them. And now they're very highly collectible. And now with the advent of eBay, they're fiercely kind of collected all over the world. But I suppose there's an appeal about them. People either tend to find them appealing or creepy. And they're creepy because it's sort of a human face, but doesn't give you anything. So even if you're looking at me now, like with no expression, your face is still making tiny movements.
Early CGI is what it is. Early form of CGI where it's not real. Yeah. But
there's something weird about it, and they're in horror films and that. But it's incredibly difficult to do. And I just realized I didn't have the talent for it. And I thought, oh God, I'd love to. I'd love to have been able to do that. And I still sometimes think I'd love to do that still now. And I kind of think about it, or I think, maybe I could do like a 5-minute section. It's a magic routine, but it involves a puppet or something. But I don't think I have the guts still. It just still feels like so unknown.
Well, because you borrowed one.
I went round to your house and see.
You were too scared to take some of them, though, weren't you? Because it was like some of them you were like, I'm not taking that with me.
I'm one of those. There's two people in this world. There's people that borrow stuff off you and then lend it to someone else. Yes, and those people I can't stand. Yeah. And then there's people like me that borrow stuff of it, and I will protect it with my life. Yeah. And if I have it too long,
you start getting nervous like getting it back.
I borrowed it off you, and then it went to lockdown.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
And I'm like, Matt, I'm so sorry. I've got this. It was on top of a shelf.
Yeah. It was in the front room, and I was like,
I kept taking pictures of it for you to let you know that I was still looking after.
And ironically, a picture, you could have taken loads of pictures at the beginning, and then just kind of, just filtered it through to them.
Yeah, very true. I should have filmed myself with it in front of you. I should have FaceTime just saying, look, it's all right.
Yeah, no, they're a fascinating thing. I mean, I don't know. You'd probably be surprised. Maybe you wouldn't be. There's a lot of magicians that have got a sort of an allied arts interest and collect things like that. David Copperfield, famously, probably the most famous magician of our time, started off wanting to be a ventriloquist, and has got some amazing. He's got some of the most famous original vent figures in his collection, and there's vent figures in the Magic Circle of performers that have passed on, and the figures are there. And I don't know. It's an allied art, I think, but it's very, very difficult. And I'm still massively drawn to it, but still not quite there. I think that what I would do is I would phase it in. I'd love to be able to do it because I think it'd be quite funny, but I think you've got to be very technically skillful with it. Like with card stuff, you learn you learn your technique and you can improvise. But if you could get very good with event stuff, you'd want to be improvisational. I think and those people that
that girl does what the lady does well, doesn't she? The one that puts just the mask on the bottom.
Nina Conti. Yeah, absolutely.
What's her name?
Nina Conti.
Nina Conti.
Brilliant.
That's very good.
Yeah, because she's got a really lovely way about her as well.
She's sweet, isn't she? Sweet and a bit of a Carol Smiley-ish.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? And if you look at some of the really good, successful ventriloquists, their puppet they use. So hers was before she started doing the mask, and it was a monkey, and all it had was a moving mouth. So they're very, very simple. Paul Zerdin, his puppet Sam, is just very basic. It's a soft puppet, but it's just a mouth. So some of the ones in my collection, they're very complicated. They've got lots of movements. They do all these different things. But a lot of the very successful events, they're very simple because it comes down, you sort of detach from the fact that it's the person talking. Yeah. It's them speaking. And especially when you see people that do a show and they've got 2 or 3 characters on stage and they're voicing them all. And you forget that's just one person on stage.
Well, I was quite inspired by it. That's why I used it. Because the ventriloquist, to be a ventriloquist is very hard.
Yeah.
But to pretend to be a ventriloquist is very easy.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Very easy if you're an editor and stuff like that. You just put the voice in later.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our actor, Dave Bannerman. Jamie Bannerman, the actor.
Yes.
He wasn't too bad at it, actually. No. He did it in a way where you could sort of see his throat going a little bit.
Yep.
But you need
something
that.
Famously, one of the most famous English ventriloquists, Peter Brough, who's carried Archie Andrews, was very famous. He was the most successful ventriloquist of his time on the radio. It was a radio show, which is probably one of the weirdest things. And there's a clip of him on YouTube where he was on a televised chat show, and he wasn't that brilliant at moving this, but Archie Andrews became so famous in this radio TV because it's pre-TV. So he had all these celebrity guests and he was doing this, and he had great character development and that with the puppet. But as soon as you saw him like in front of people, he wasn't that good. He was crap. It was
put on a voice.
It was awkward.
Yeah.
Then when you watch the sort of the more, I say contemporary, I mean, I'm sort of talking 80s, 90s, like Keith Harris and that with Orville. He was incredibly technical. Ray Allen, Lord Charles and that. They're really, really, really good at it. But it's incredibly difficult to be very proficient. And the same we said about magic, there's always going to be one person that's staring at your hands. Yeah. With ventriloquism, you get captivated by the puppet and you forget to look at the person. But there's always that one guy that's just going to be burning the ventriloquist to check his lips don't move the whole time. It's the B's, the P's, and the W's that are the difficult ones.
Do you ever remember that act? And I think it was a Welsh guy just held a brick.
No.
He went,
held a brick?
He held a brick. He said he was so I've got a brick here. Hello, I'm a brick. He just held the brick.
No, I don't remember.
But he wasn't really a ventriloquist. He was moving his mouth and saying it as well.
Yes, I don't.
It was just so different, back then. It must have been early 90s.
But there was a lot of magicians.
He sat there with a brick in his hand. I've got a brick here. Just brick and talk. And he turned to the brick and his mouth was still moving. He goes, hello, I'm a brick. And at the time, it was like, it's so different. It was funny.
I mean, it felt like something you had to be there.
Yeah. We were only young at that point.
Yeah,
we were like 2 or 3.
We were still playing in the sandpits at that time.
On that note, thanks for coming.
Well, obviously, the big joke was the COVID times, wasn't it? When lots of ventriloquists were kind of doing it with masks on, with a face mask. And that. So this is great for ventriloquists. And it's I think it's amazing. You don't see huge amounts of acts like that now. And I don't know whether that's a sign of the fact that, you look at some of these that came up through things like the comedy clubs and the working men's clubs back in the day, years ago. And there was a place you could go out and do your act every night. It was where Paul Daniels famously came from. He was working men's clubs and he famously did I think it was like 2 years straight and he had like 3 nights off in that. That's why he was so sharp when he got to TV. His act with that cup and the ball is so slick, and it's from doing it over and over and over again. And I think it would be nice to see that kind of come back. And there's a few people doing it now, like, Room in the Back of a Pub or comedy nights, where you could just go in and do 8 minutes and just do it over and over every single night of the week. And
master it.
Go around. Yeah. And if you've got a reputation, if you're working in Kent and you've got a reputation as the close-up guy that does weddings and you're worried about killing that, go outside of Kent and just go somewhere no one knows you and just hone it, because that's often the thing. It's getting that flight time. It's why loads of performers go to Edinburgh, then rehearsal with a show and just go, where else can you do that many shows in that short space of time and get it slick?
Brilliant. And do a trick for us.
Is that boring? Is that kind of boring?
No. It's been boring for an hour and whatever. Hour and a half you've been boring for, but
Have we been going an hour and a half?
Hour and a half. And you were nervous, see? It's easy, isn't it? We keep you nice and calm.
We're not really talking about anything of that great interest though, are we, I suppose?
Oh, that's a way of selling yourself. Well done. So if anyone that's in the tab theory, which is obviously just to keep it interesting, you'll notice there's a magician in that, and he's called Chris Hardwell. And you're Chris Harding. Did you know I'd named it after you?
You did, yeah. You phoned me up and sent me a text about it.
Yeah.
Did you get his permission?
Look, I said, look, this guy's just
I didn't sign any release. Yeah, no, I met him and he was like this really slick, good-looking guy. And it was like,
yeah, but don't worry, I made him slimy as well.
That's absolutely savage. I can't believe you said that. It's it's not very nice.
And he didn't perform one trick, did he?
Did he
in
not?
The whole episode, he didn't need to perform a trick. It just said on his title, Chris Hardwell, magician.
I thought he didn't do a trick in it.
The trick wasn't by him.
Yeah,
yes, it was.
I thought he did do a trick.
Yeah, I cut that card trick where he does it backwards
so
and all the cards.
That's a flourish though, isn't it? That's like doing that.
He does, but a backwards flourish. So they're just appearing in his hand.
Didn't we do that once when we made that promo?
We did a promo.
We did a promo.
Love 'em.
And then Peter could not walk down that corridor.
We love 'em. Love EM.
Should we explain
love
what that is?
entertainment
What was that?
and media. And we did a promotion. We had a DJ, we had a singer, we had a photographer, a videographer, us two, and a magician. And we had fun with that, didn't we?
That was bizarre.
We had that we did that backwards, and we had to get you to walk backwards. And I think the most entertaining thing is that video is about 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
But the entertaining thing is the 15-minute outtake video.
Yeah.
So funny.
Well, we don't know what happened.
Oh, it's just so funny.
I think Peter took up half of that.
He's just trying to get Peter to walk in a straight line. And
do you
want me to pick the mic up now?
And when you're doing something like that, the more times you do something,
he was
the
getting
more,
stressed.
The more
it was
difficult
hilarious.
it becomes, and then it becomes a bit more about like you become flustered with it, and it's
just getting the DJs to throw out a couple. Was you there when they were throwing out?
The
throwing out the CDs.
CDs. So funny.
Was that rap?
Yeah, I have to put a link on for that. That's a funny outtake.
That was a good suit. I think I had a tweed suit on in that. It was like a tweedy kind of suit.
Oh, you had your usual suit on it.
Yeah.
Your usual suit.
Your
That was
Doctor
a lovely
Who.
suit. It was a
Doctor
nice
Who
suit.
suit.
It was a nice suit. It looked great. That was a great suit.
Amazing. You can do us a trick.
What do you want to
Or
see?
do you want us to do a separate video with a few tricks, card tricks?
We can
It's up to you.
do.
We can do a bonus thing.
Yeah, we can do a bonus. Put some live
feature.
footage as well. What people want to see what I'm doing. Have you got any
Exactly
live
what I
footage?
think.
Oh, here we go.
People want to
That's
see.
it. Yeah, let's make it all about you.
People want to see it live.
Right, Simon doesn't like editing this.
Why?
So because he can't be asked, can he?
Yeah, it's a podcast, so I don't want to do too much editing. I'd rather spend the editing on the customers.
Keep it raw.
Yeah, I like the. So I will not cut any of this unless there's something you really want removed. But you haven't said anything that
No,
requires
incriminating.
No,
Maybe
No.
you've
about
basically told
children.
everyone I'm a paedophile. But apart from that,
But he's happy to keep that in.
Yeah, think of that. Think about all the things
I'm
you
not
didn't want to
everyone.
cut,
I've got
you know.
5 children. 5 children.
You got 5 children.
I have 5 children. I have 4 sons, 1 daughter.
Crikey.
My eldest is 30 this year.
God, same. No, not same age as me.
No, he's not the same age as you.
He's only 6 years old. I'm 6 years older than he is.
Wow, is that like a girlfriend?
If I had you, I'd have been 12.
Here,
All right.
home, and then he thought,
And then his dad went, all right.
like, when I'll have that one for myself.
Do one. Let's end it with one trick.
Is that
here.
mean? Yeah.
Should we end it with one trick?
Yeah. What should we do?
I don't know, but let's do the old. Okay, so if you want to come on the podcast, if you're a business or if you're
Do people write in for that? Has anyone ever kind of said, I want to be on it?
100%, 100%, yes, yeah. Guess who we got coming? We've got an MP coming, local MP coming on soon.
Okay. Get the old paedophile chat ready for that then.
So let's not. This is still. We're still using this. So,
No, I meant you more than me. It's not.
oh yeah, we get. Oh, sorry. I see what you mean now. I thought you was accusing that. No.
I knew he was talking about you.
Sorry about that, viewers and listeners.
Sorry, listeners.
Listener. Sorry about that, listener.
There's a debate on that, isn't there? When you're talking to podcasts, it should be listener as if you're talking to the one person that's listening or listeners.
That's a very good.
Okay, so what is that?
I would say listeners, but you're right. It's one person listening. Sorry about that. One listener, and we only have one person listening. So that's good.
Rachel's mum.
Actually, yeah, Rachel's mum. Yeah, that's us.
Did I get it?
That's it.
We're reviewing it.
In the last month, we've had 68,000 views. So
What else does this say on here?
This is
this
other
is
stuff we're
just-
doing later.
Because Simon is very good at having a conversation with someone and then going, oh, I've got a question, so I'm going to ask it right
I'm
now.
trying to be a better interviewer by writing stuff down and waiting for you to finish.
Is it because you just got a bad memory? You just
No,
like writing,
I've
you
got a
can't
terrible memory,
Have
but
you?
also while you're telling me the answer,
You'll think you're
I'm
already moved
drifting
on.
off thinking of something else,
Yeah.
and I don't want to. I want to be listening to what your answer is because
Right,
by
I
the time
see.
you finish the sentence, I forgot
Yeah.
what I asked you anyway.
Shame
Anyway,
on
I'm trying to
you,
be better. Trying to be better. So, if you want to come on the podcast, it's it's the same address for everything. If you want to come on the podcast or sponsor the podcast, go on to www.cherrywoodpro.com/podcast. And you
What are you laughing at?
because it's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing saying this.
Cherry
stuff.
Pro.
Please like, share, and avoid.
Subscribe. No, subscribe.
Oh no, that's
Like, share, and subscribe. Please
Yeah.
share it with a friend.
yeah. Oh, Chris,
Or
let's
with
find
someone
out.
that you don't like.
Let's have your details. We need your
If there's someone
details.
you hate, send them a copy of this podcast to know that you've wasted an hour and a half of their life by telling them some useful content in there. And then by the end of it, they go, what was that all about?
Anyway,
we're going to, I thought it was going to talk about the art of magic and it was going to be really informative. We're going to find out a couple of secrets. And he was just sitting there and they were talking about puppets and weirdness.
Perfect. Thanks for that. Anyway, what I'm going to do is after this, I'm going to take the camera and we're going to actually hold it in my hand and film you doing some stuff closer if you want to. As a bonus, I don't know if it will help with the podcast, but if you don't want to just listen to it, you can watch it on YouTube because you'll be better off watching this bit on YouTube, but I'll make it as a podcast as well. So give us your details, Chris. How can people book you, find you, kiss you?
ChrisHardingMagic.com.
ChrisHardingMagic.com.
Yeah. Facebook, Twitter, internet, LinkedIn, MySpace, everything.
Blimey.
MySpace?
Yeah.
Is that still around?
I don't know. I said it and I sort of thought. You know what I don't really understand is
what page are you on?
I don't really understand LinkedIn. That's something I don't understand.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
LinkedIn's more of a business type thing.
Yeah, I tried.
We post on LinkedIn. We post a podcast on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I don't really
under my name though.
Lots of notifications on it, but I don't really understand it.
Do you do TikTok?
No.
Do you understand it?
I don't understand TikTok.
I don't understand TikTok.
No, even the young pups like us don't understand
We do TikTok. Most of our stuff's Cherrywood Pro, based on weddings, and I just put the podcast over that. But on TikTok, we are just Cherrywood Podcast.
What is TikTok? How does it work?
I don't know, but
short clips.
To be honest, it's just short clips, which I like about it because you don't have to give it much effort. You don't have to give TikTok that much effort. You just put a clip on it.
Is this for TikTok?
Let's have that bit for TikTok.
But you know what it's like when you're posting something.
Why is there a pair of shoes on the floor? I've just noticed.
I've taken them off. My heels are killing me.
They look like the sort of ones that, when you go around a garden centre and they've got like a weird clothing department. And they say that you can get them shoes, or the ones, Sunday newspaper, and there's like a little glossy magazine and a picture of someone with a shoe balanced on their finger, like those kind of shoes that are like, look at these for like lumbar support and that.
They're actually just gym shoes. They're just trainers.
Skechers.
No, they're Carragher's or whatever they're called. Aren't they a Sports Direct home brand? Or
I don't know what that means. Yeah. I just only realised you've taken them
off. Took them off about an hour ago because my heels are killing me. I've done both my heels in. I did a Ninja Warrior.
How? What's Ninja Warrior?
It's like a course that you do where you've got to push different lights and things. But Ninja Warrior is also one of those things where you run up the ramp and try and get the highest light on the ramp. And I was determined to get this top light and pulled the back of my heels. And now I'm just in agony all the time. And I played badminton yesterday, so it got better. I played badminton.
Always stretch before.
It's too embarrassing to stretch in front of you.
Everyone else is doing it, though, aren't they? Everyone else is doing it. That's
I know.
Upcoming event. Something else going on.
Yeah, get out of here with it. Right, let's do one card trick.
Bad looking on phones, isn't it?
That's all right. Don't worry. We look on phones. We try and keep it relaxed, and people just look at their phone every now and then.
You answered a phone call the other day.
I had to answer a phone call. I even rang you up the other day, and you told me you were coming out of hospital.
I did.
What was you doing in hospital? Look at so much spam.
We'll tell you about that later.
Here's a good trick for your memory.
Right. Okay. See if you can sort of aim it for the camera. But
the camera's so far away. Look at this. What do you think?
Yeah, but I can zoom in. I'm filming it in 4K, so I can zoom in. Mind that cup, so they might not see the cup.
There's something in it.
Just put it on this one.
I was going to do that bouncing thing where you throw it back up and give it loads of stuff in it. You know when you do but it has stuff in it. You do it with like a part of bread roller. I don't want to have stuff in it. And that's when to do it. I saw the coffee in it.
Shit, I bet not.
All over this cheap camera equipment.
Okay. Right, what are you showing me? You're showing me an ace of it. I've got to describe it as well. Do you want to describe it while he's doing it to me?
Give me your hand. Hold your fingers like this, like this, okay?
Simon is holding
his fingers out. So he's got me holding my fingers out as if I'm going to take one card.
And you have got one card. So what card do you have at the moment?
I didn't actually
have a look to check to make sure.
Right,
try and show me.
He's asking me to see a card. Do you need to see the card?
I know what it is. It's the Ace of Hearts. This is let's make this about your memory. Let's make it about
my
your
memory. Is terrible.
So can you remember that Ace of Hearts?
Ace of Hearts, yes, I can remember the Ace of Hearts. He's got me holding this one card every week.
And what card is this? This is the Ace of Diamonds.
He's just shown me the Ace of Diamonds at the top of a pack.
Are you sure you're happy that you can remember the two of those? I mean, I don't want to throw you off too.
No. Ace of Hearts in my hand, Ace of Diamonds.
So if I swap them over, like this, okay, Ace of Hearts, Ace of Diamonds, you got Ace of Diamonds. If I do that, which one do you have now? Ace of Hearts or Ace of Diamonds? Rachel's like kind of staring, going, I don't know which one's which.
Well,
which one
I think I've got the Ace of Diamonds below and the Ace of Hearts above.
Why are you saying it in a hesitating way?
Because you're going to trick me.
As if like they're the other way round. Yeah. Okay, so you do remember they were different cards.
I do remember
they were Ace of Hearts, Ace of Diamonds.
Yes.
Turn your hand over.
Oh,
a miracle. Stop it.
That is just unreal. So he's basically given, I've got two queens. I've got a queen of
Story
hearts.
of your
You are
life.
No, I haven't. I've got a queen of club and I've got a queen of spades in my hand.
How
And he
exciting.
literally, I don't
See,
know. See, it's
Even
amazing.
I'm
isn't it?
watching now and I don't
It's
even
amazing.
know.
I should have
how.
held that to the
You
camera.
should have done
first.
like a thing, where you kind of made it feel a bit more.
Yeah.
You didn't.
So let's do it again for the camera.
Okay.
And I will hold it this way for the people on the camera to
What, a
see.
different
So we're
trick
doing it
or-
for them. You can do the same trick.
I'll tell you what, do this.
Okay, right, okay.
What you hold? What you're
I
holding?
don't know what I'm doing. You said do this,
don't
and
know.
you haven't told me anything.
Say stop somewhere.
Stop somewhere.
Can you remember it?
Yes.
Did you do the somewhere at the end? Like a real kind of, okay. It was a red card,
It was a red
3 of
card.
hearts.
No.
Okay, what was your card?
8 of diamonds.
Hold it to the camera.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. No.
No, mate, no.
I ain't having that. Perfect. Right. Thank you, Chris. It's been a pleasure, mate. And it's good to see you. And
let's
you've lost so much weight and we didn't even talk about that. How much weight have you lost?
Oh God, like 5 stone.
You've lost 5 stone.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
So that was kind of, I think I was,
So this happens. We always say goodbye and then we start talking again. I'm so sorry.
That's why I was just getting a bit kind of unhealthy. I think I did it more for just feeling like I was letting myself go a little
So
bit.
are you using anything like an app or something?
No,
You're just counting calories?
I just kind of have just been really more. I tell you, I fell into really bad habits of eating really late after gigs and eating probably the wrong types of foods, and not being conscious about anything I ate at all. I mean, I used to be really conscious of it. Probably just before I got married, just before I met my wife. Prior to that, I'd it sounds really weird saying this now. I trained and qualified as a personal trainer.
Oh,
With
right.
double distinction, like level 3, and that was what I was going to do. I was going to do that alongside magic. So I used to work in a magic shop. I used to do gigs in the evening. Then I stopped working in the magic shop, and I was doing gigs in the evening. And then
such a cop. We've just already been through. Did you have any other jobs?
and then I decided that I lived opposite so I got really into sort of fitness. I moved to live opposite the gym in Ashford and got really friendly with it. I used to get every morning. I used to get up at like 5:30, go there at 6, do 2 hours. And then I thought I qualified as that, and I thought I'd do that and do gigs in the evening. And then I sort of met my wife. She sort of encouraged, because I'd stopped doing wedding fairs a little bit, because I was doing plenty of corporate gigs. Then she was doing sort of wedding fairs at the time. So I got back into it, fell back into it, and then just got back into it. And the trading thing sort of fell by the wayside. And then, as cliche to say, but then you get comfortable, don't you? And we had kids, and I kind of was just ticking on fine. And then suddenly I kind of reset. I suppose it was probably about a year. Well, it was just over a year ago. So, when you're walking by the supermarket and that reflective window outside, I look and go, who's that? I'm like, oh, it's me.
Right, yeah.
And I just
to me all the time.
I just felt like, and there's no kind of opinion on every, I think people are all different shapes. It doesn't matter. I think you've got to be just it for yourself. And I just sort of felt myself, I could feel myself feeling a bit unfitter. I thought I wasn't perhaps kind of being as active as I should be. And I just decided to kind of just be mindful of what I was eating. That was it,
And that's
really.
it. You've done no exercise.
No, I mean, I drink lots of coffee, lots of water. I don't drink loads and loads of like booze or anything like that. I mean, I think the mistake people make is they do things like crash diets, and then it's not sustainable over a long period of time.
So what is it you've been eating? What do you eat now then?
Just whatever.
What
I mean,
have you avoided?
I've actually got a little bit of an addiction to Nando's at the moment. It's a problem.
Right, okay.
So I've had Nando's
problem.
3 times in the last 7 or 8 days.
Right, okay.
And
Other
I have to
chicken
go.
shops are available.
I have to go and get it because they don't deliver to where I live, even though the Nando's is about 5 minutes around the corner. So it's now becoming awkward because when I go in there, now I'm thinking of ways to try and pretend to be on the phone as if I might be picking up for somebody else, even though I'm ordering the same thing. A takeaway for Chris. I think it's been ordered, but I'm not really sure.
It's the higher protein, isn't it?
Yeah,
So-
no, it's not. It's just I have hummus, the wrap, and the chips.
God, I
That's what I'm
fancy a
having.
Nando's now. Do you want to go out for a Nando's?
I love it, but I don't know. I mean, I just try and be mindful of what I eat. Try not to eat too late, but it is hard because the kind of the performing and lifestyle and the hours that you keep. And you're at a wedding. Oh, we've got you food. Oh, stay for this and stay for that. And you go home and unwind after a gig, and you're up late, and you might be eating some tea and some biscuits and all that. And I don't know. I think probably the reason why it crept back upwards from being very being slimmer before was. I did it before, and just before I met Charmaine, I'd kind of got super fit and that, but I lost weight quite quickly. So I think in the back of my head, I've always thought, well, actually, if I just shifted my kind of lifestyle a bit, I can lose it quite
Sounds like
quickly.
you've got a body that can burn it off quite well.
Maybe, but it very soon goes back on. And I sort of started getting photos of myself at gigs, and I thought, I look a bit much in this picture. I don't carry it well, because there's people that carry, it really well, and I thought I don't.
Thank you.
Well done.
Yeah. It's just
anyway,
squeezing through tables and like kind of move around. So,
dear listener and viewers,
there's no inside secret there. We can't even promote anything.
No, I'm sorry. We always say goodbye, and then there's another 10-minute chat.
I just hate goodbyes. That's the problem.
I'm sorry if it must frustrate the hell out of you, because it does frustrate me. Because last time we were on, I said to you, no, didn't I?
Got more questions.
But you can ask the questions on the next video when he's doing some tricks for you.
Okay.
All right, he's going to be doing some
For
tricks.
me.
Yeah, I think I'm going to film just with the camera close up while he does some tricks for you.
Okay.
All right, it'll be about half hour, I imagine.
Christ, I haven't got that long.
All right then.
11:45.
Okay, we'll just do some 15-minute tricks then. All right then.
It's like he's trying to wrap it up.
actually,
Keep talking.
No, what I'll do is I'll tie it onto the end of the podcast then. All
Tag
right,
some
I'm gonna tie it on-
footage. Why can't we get some live footage? It's not so artificial. Have you not got any? Show reel.
Well, that-
What are you doing? You got
That's
anything
the only
coming up
reason
that I could come and do?
That's the only reason you spoke to me. It's like, hello, Simon. I'm the magician that saw you.
You came over to me.
How can I have your footage
Can
for
I-
nothing?
can I
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
like
Of course, you can have my footage for nothing.
Yeah. And
Like
what I'll
the
do is
other magician.
I'll credit you with Cherrywood Promotions, which isn't even your business.
Yeah, and I'll credit you. Yeah, Cherry Tree Productions.
I think I did, didn't I?
Well, I don't know, but you're all the same. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you for everyone for
Punk
listening.
bastard.
Thank you for watching. Did you enjoy it?
I did have fun. It wasn't today. No.
And we'll get you
the
back on.
classics.
We'll get you back on at some point if you want.
Will you?
Yeah, I don't know.
Not for this money. Yeah, I'd love to. No, I'd love to. Maybe I'll put some. I could put a plan in place and try and give some value and some
Can we
worth.
have Charmaine on? She can come down
If you
and
want to,
promote her business.
yeah.
And the other, you're quite good on the mic, and you don't realise you are. So there might be times where I'm ill or Rachel's ill. You can stand in and guest host if you want to.
I'd love to guest host. Who could I have on? Could I pick the guest?
No, you can't pick because I can't pick when I'm going to be ill, can I?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. And then you could fake a sickie, and then you get like
Fair
if you go,
enough.
this person's
Yeah.
going to be crap. I'm going to get him to.
I'm going to have a lie in. This is going to be a boring
Yeah.
guest.
Oh, we could get Katy Perry on if he knows Katy.
No, and that's the thing, isn't it? When you see people like kids, people used to bring their kid over to the stand, going, "Look at that! Look, do you know Katy Perry?"
Yeah,
You're
just 'cause
like,
you had a photo.
the kids are there. Yeah. Do you want him to? Do you want her to come to the wedding? I'll bring her down. Yeah, I'll get her to do a couple of numbers the first dance. You know?
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, girl, what you up to?
Go on,
What you
yeah,
up to,
girls.
And we're still talking once we said bye again. Oh,
Does it?
I'm so sorry. Right, we're definitely going. Cheers, mate.
Yeah,
Have some
what's
of
that?
Booze.
Fist pumping.
That's just me trying to be down with the
Aren't
kids.
your hands warm?
That's because they've been in my crutch for 2 hours.
Right.
This podcast has been brought to you by Snug Dubs Camper Van Hire.
Roam the world, park anywhere.
That's snugdubs.co.uk. This podcast was brought to you today by Austin's Eatery on Station Road, Strood.
Try the Viking Challenge.